Bum 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 da.
Bing,
I got that.
bing.
I got the stupid lick in the background of Biggie Smalls song. The bass lines. Bum 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 da.
Just don't ice me, homie.
A little too late for that, Biggie. No, for whatever reason, there's like this mom scare video going around. This kid pops out when his mom comes in with coffee, and she's like, ah! He drops it because he's wearing a Michael Myers mask, and like, boom! And for some reason, they put that track in the background. I'm like, I don't know why, but now it's stuck in my head. But yeah, Keely Chow, hello. Bringing the beef. Hail, friend.
Kingly Chow.
You like my spin on the OceanGate rookie?
It's amazing.
You see the thumbnail, right?
Oh yeah. I think it's funny how almost nobody gives a fuck about the people like dead, probably just like, well,
oh no, they're
you're
fucking
retarded
dead.
for going in there. It's just like you're kind of retarded for going in there, I guess. I don't know. Like,
well, the funny thing, apparently the kid was on there too. The one we thought was getting billions. I guess he was on the ship too because he got guilted into it for Father's Day. Father's Day. Oh, I love it. This is just hilarious.
Yeah, I was confused because everybody's calling it OceanGate. I was like, well, there's already a Watergate, and then there's Gamergate, and then there's Comicsgate, and then there's Deflategate, and it's like, I don't like. Why is this OceanGate? And then you're like, that's the fucking company. I'm like, what? I guess because it's our sphere of stuff, and then just in general, like it's funny because there was a Watergate. It's funny because it's like the first gate was a Watergate, and now it's back in the ocean, and it's like, what? Gone full circle now.
Interesting. Before we talk about that, though, let me pull up this campaign. Looks pretty sick.
Before you pull it up, though, it's like maybe we could go more Alex Jones conspiratorial. Maybe that's where they put the gay frogs. Maybe it's not just the rich white people they put there. Maybe that's the aliens from the future.
Well, I'll need time to simmer on that. Let's distract ourselves for a moment. Let me present this. So I saw this on Twitter, and I found the channel. I hit them up. This might be a guest soon. They have a campaign currently going on. These guys have been doing it for a while. They're on issue 6 or 7 now, and they're doing this like manga version or something. I don't know. I'm still in the dark, but I spent $20 and bought all the issues out so far. And so I just want to hawk this stuff because it looks freaking cool. Honestly, it looks better than almost anything CG besides Cyberfrog, artisan-wise, at least. So I don't know the full scope yet. I may have just backed SJWs. I don't think so. They just got a cool con, but they have a cause behind their company. They animal rights to some extent. From what I'm gathering from like when you click the character, Calico's the name. Every day, millions of animals are abused and killed. Animal rights groups and charities try to help, yet the savagery continues. There's lots of really bad people out there. They're in for a really bad time. Enter Calico. By reading Calico Volume 1, your investment goes to increasing both funding and exposure for groups that actually make a big difference, helping to stop the abuse of those who do very little. Time to make a difference. So, interesting. I don't think I've ever seen an animal rights product. So, seeing PETA and you donate, maybe you get like a keychain or something, but
yeah, I haven't heard of like a video game or something that's like, to protect the animals from the evil carnivores or something.
So I really like this. Let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah, here we go. Here is Calico number 1. Here comes Calico. I think it's cool. I like he made a cat logo, make a C as well. It's cool. It's a totally new venture for me, but I've reached out to him, gave me the contact, so I might be having them on stream soon. But the art looks freaking amazing. Like this definitely evokes Black Panther. And I've seen someone comment, is Black Panther? I think they made a video like, what is the tie to Black Panther with this? And they're like, not at all. It's just they both happen to be cat characters. That's it.
Correct.
Honestly, this looks cool, and I like because it's Calico. They got like this purposeful, like mixed matched color scheme, and you got like brown, black, and white, and it's just really cool. And I like how each issue's got like a theme title, or this first one's just like Run, and then number 2, you see this cool dynamic comic shot here, and it just says "Heads Up." I love it. It's so
it's
simple.
just Arnold puns. It's just a couple one-liners.
Or like, God, look how savage these pit bulls look, and the like tag is Raw Dog.
They're just gonna be get them or something. Nice.
It's cool. He's pitting him against like a dog man, and he's a cat guy, so it's like fuck. All of the creativity.
And then the next one needs to be a mouse character.
And then Calico gets caught by some like Grim Reaper Moon Knight looking guy. Caught.
You should have said "got my tongue" or something. Like, I got you.
You'll like this one, rookie. Your fat speedster.
The Jiggler.
Make way for the Jiggler.
The Jigginator.
Yeah, I'm just getting a kick. This is really awesome. Like it feels like reading some like 90s and before comics where they're like, kind of hyping you for the next issue. And it's like, oh, Ghost Rider has gotten out of this, but how will he handle the Punisher?
What site is this on?
It's called Sigma Comics.
Okay, I might check this out.
Yeah, let me put the link in the chat. I'll put it in the private chat too, so you can actually click it. StreamYard. Private chat. Do. There it is in the chat now. I'm waiting for Karen to show up. I got a new clip for you. You better say something, Karen.
She's probably watching. Just probably being ninja. She's a ninja Karen, probably.
You better say something, Karen.
Most likely.
Oh yeah. Duel of the Fats update. Where are you at, Rookie? You started at 308.
308, yep.
Where are you at?
I haven't weighed myself since then.
What?
What, do people just weigh themselves every other day? I mean, I figure I'd wait a week before I weigh myself again and see what changes,
Here's Karen. There she is. Here's your new clip. They gotta get their hands off my butt.
Transformers, right?
Right, we were watching Transformers, and I just like, that's a Karen clip right there.
Get your hands off my bush. That scene was the worst scene of the whole film, but it was still funny in its own way, I guess.
Well, some of it's fine when it's like, what's going on? Wacky. Oh no, I gotta find the thing for the world's at stake, and then I got a girl stuck in my room, and then my parents.
The robots are stepping on the lawn. Oh no!
What are you doing? Stop knocking off the flowers.
The shot where all the Transformers are hiding when he looks out the window is like, oh my god! This was the whole point of the scene.
That would be funny if it was like a Rick and Morty plot. But it's like a legitimate blockbuster movie.
Well, it's like it was the thing where, it like totally ruined the pace. The only part that was really worth it was the parents coming in and talking about masturbation or whatever, and then Megan Fox pops up and it's like, oh, you have a female in the room.
It was like, oh, you have a girl, and so all right,
and she's not ugly.
We're not worried her son's gonna sterilize the family line. And or he's gay.
He's not gay, confirmed.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, thank God, and she's hot. Oh my God, how did he pull this? And you just, from all that reaction, you hear the just complete doubt in any capability of their son. Like if anything, that'd be kind of depressing.
Yeah, just like their relation of, oh my God, he did something that wasn't shit.
Oh my God, he's not a failure. Oh man, yeah.
We still have like 30 minutes of the movie that we didn't finish, but we know the ending anyways. It's like, whatever. They fight at the end.
This is a bad idea.
We still gotta watch Transformers 2.
This cover I think is really cool too. A security breach. And this one really shows off with the color artist. Really shows off the variations of his costume. And I'm wondering if maybe this anti-hero is like a hodgepodge in his suit together.
So does he have more than one issue already done, or are those just concepts?
Yeah, these are 6 issues that have already been done, $2.99 a piece, like Image Comics, and no shipping anywhere in the US. So I bought all 6 for like after tax, like under $20.
Wait, so it's just digital, or
no? These are physical. They're going to come to my house.
Oh shit! I'll fucking buy these. All right.
Yeah, it's a little annoying. They don't have like a. You gotta keep when you add to a card. You gotta keep going back a page. But yeah, this
I'll check this out. Seems like a fun little series to go through.
Yeah.
So how many pages?
22, 24 piece, something like that.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, that's older picture of the founder, writer. Yeah, digital you can get them as low as $1.50. But you can't like flip it and feel it and touch it, you know.
I'd rather hold it, and I know I have it.
Yeah. But this is the about humans have superheroes, animals don't. While humans may be a stronger planet, they aren't on the verge of extinction. Many animals are. Sigma Constance created to give a stronger voice to a group that cohabitates this planet with us, yet are routinely encroached upon, threatened, abused, and killed. Through both print and digital mediums, Sigma Comics creates and distributes stories inspired by actual events, which often receive very little media coverage in the news. The stories are graphic, violent, and uncensored, exactly as they should occur in real life. And as such, our comic books are made strictly for mature audiences. So no pussy shit here with Sigma Comics. I'm excited.
All right.
But yeah, go check out, get all 6 issues right now for $20. Or you pay more on their campaign. They have a campaign on Kickstarter right now. It appears they've been successful in all their stuff. So cool stuff. It's very unique. While still like very much, you know, this harkens Black Panther imagery, but yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I like.
But yeah, OceanGate. Let's dig in. I've been, you know, I talked to you earlier and I was reading some of the stuff. This is wacky shit. This whole OceanGate sub.
Ocean Man. There's a song called Ocean Man, so it's just kind of funny.
Oh yeah, it's from the SpongeBob movie.
With that Ocean Man has something with a can.
Take me by the hand if you understand.
It's just like, okay, that's the theme to OceanGate.
I have the soundtrack. So yeah, I know that soundtrack. Fucking Motorhead did a song on there. Missing Titanic submersible. Catastrophic implosion. Likely killed 5 aboard submersible. It's hilarious because of what you're going to find out about this. And Vase is supposed to be here, but he's not been active on Twitter lately, so I don't know what's going on. Actually, I have his number. Let me just text him really quick. I don't know if that'll work either because he won't recognize my number.
I don't know, Vase, wake up, bro. Don't you know you're supposed to be here, you hoe? Well, in the meantime,
I text it. I'm just trying to find. Let me see. Aristoff. There it is. Aristophanes. He tweeted something about this. Where'd it go? Somewhere in his. Oh my god! You have to see this meme he shared. This is hilarious. Present. This is Poseidon kneeling on the OceanGate sub.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
Damn.
That's fucking great.
That's hilarious.
It's like everybody, like us on the right that hate like wokeism, which you'll find out is involved in this disaster for that company. And then people on the left that hate the rich are having, like, everyone's just, we're all having fun. It's great. James Cameron is commenting on this stuff about, like, yeah, it's kind of ironic, the hubris of OceanGate and the shenanigans they pulled with personnel and the Titanic, where it's like, hey, there's ice ahead. It's going to break the ship. And they're like, folly, young ward. Full speed ahead.
You don't understand.
Have you no faith in human engineering, son? Oh, crap. Yeah, we're sinking. But Aristophanes says, window rated at 1,400 meters below sea level. Titanic is at 3,800 meters. Fires the subject matter expert who tells him it's unsafe. At least he had the balls to pilot it himself.
All right. So yeah, so that business is probably destroyed now, I would imagine.
They'll recover.
They'll give you a 20% discount next time on the next trip. That'll work. That shall make it work.
What the hell? What the hell, Aristophanes? I know you tweeted something about this. Like an actual article. Yeah, like a quote tweet. He like put quotations from an article. And I can't. Where the hell did it go?
I don't know.
Okay. Here we go. All right. Time to share this fun tidbit. Sorry for the wait. It was fun getting distracted, though, by that by that meme. All right. So, informationliberation.com, first-time viewer here. Titan sub OceanGate CEO didn't want to hire 50-year-old white guys because they're not inspirational. OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush, who went missing aboard his Titan submersible vessel along with 4 other passengers, told in an interview he didn't want to hire a bunch of 50-year-old white guys like other submarine companies because he wanted his team to be inspirational. When I started the business, one of the things you'll find, there are other sub operators out there, but they typically have gentlemen who are ex-military submariners. Submariners, I suppose to say. And you'll see a whole bunch of 50-year-old white guys, Rush told someone in 2020. I wanted our team to be younger, to be inspirational. I'm not going to inspire a 16-year-old to go pursue marine technology, but a 25-year-old, who's a subpod or a platform operator or one of our techs can be inspirational. So we've really tried to get very intelligent, motivated, younger individuals involved because we're doing things that are completely new. Yeah, see, I don't get this. Like, you watch, this is a fictional example, but you watch Star Wars Episode 1, and no one's like, that's far-fetched, when Anakin, they escape Naboo, it's when they've left Tatooine, fixed the engine, and he's chatting up with the pilot. And he's like, yeah, we do this. We push this button and we go here and then we can see this. And here's the technology on our panel. And he's like taking it all in because Anakin's going to become a great pilot. And no one's like, hey, what? That's no way. No way a kid would want to learn from an old person. It's like, I don't know. How many people do you know that pilot submarines to, small submarines to sightsee the ocean? Like, you only see it usually just from the film side, not even in the sub. You just see the film they take of like deep sea diving for like Discovery and Nat Geo and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's already stupid. almost all the pilots in the world are old white guys, as far as commercial airliners, and people want to be pilots. Like the act of doing it's what's cool. It doesn't matter who's behind the steering wheel. So I don't get this is wokeness. The sub went missing on June 18th while descending the Titanic wreck site off of the coast of Newfoundland, Canada. It has not been heard from since. On Tuesday, U.S. Coast Guard's officials said 1 p.m. the submersible had about 40 hours of oxygen left. The depth of the area where they went missing could pose a challenge. The deepest ever undersea rescue was that of Roger Chapman and two Rogers, Mallinson, who were rescued from the Pisces 3 submersible at 1,500 feet in 1973. So 3,800 meters times that by 3.25. It's a lot deeper. It's like 10,000 feet.
Yeah.
Plus, probably more. Yeah, it's like it's actually like 14,000 feet deep. They were trapped for 76 hours before being hauled to the surface. The Titanic wreckage is much deeper, sitting. Oh, they answered the question. 13,000 feet below sea level. Former OceanGate director of marine operations, Dave Lockridge, one of those 50-year-old white guys Rush wanted to avoid hiring for not being inspirational, was fired by Rush in 2018 after he reportedly blew the whistle on OceanGate by raising safety concerns over their first of a kind carbon fiber hull. Oh my God, a carbon fiber hull. And this shit still weighed 20,000 pounds?
Yeah, apparently.
What the hell? Oh, yeah. Like, I remember as a kid, people were crying about cars being made out of carbon instead of, like, steel, because it's lighter. Yeah. He was terminated in 2018 after presenting a scathing quality control report on the vessel to OceanGate senior management, including founder, CEO Stockton Rush, guy who died in the thing.
Guy who died in the
thing. There's some poetic justice. David Lockridge is just like kicking his feet. I'm like, I told you.
Y'all should listen, but you didn't.
Oh, well.
You should have asked.
Oh, who is this?
What are we talking about?
Who is this?
You talking to me?
Yeah, who is this?
Vase? Or you
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, it's the Vase Productions.
Fantastic
How
intro.
you doing? It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a very long time. I've been doing all right, but frankly, I'm glad to be back. I haven't done a stream in a really long time. I've been working on some stuff that I'm planning on releasing within the next couple months. I'm excited about that. I can't talk about it yet, but that's like a weight lifting off my shoulders. And I'm like, hey, what's going on with everything else while I've been like in my cocoon of nonsense?
Oh, the Titanic sunk.
I heard about that. Whoa.
Yeah, that happened like let's see, 100 years ago,
as well as a few days ago. So
like a little submarine with the 4 people in it. I heard about that because I've been having a weekly Dungeons and Dragons night, and while I was like, I've been seeing some weird memes. What's going on? Because I don't watch the news, and so they're like, "Oh, a submarine's sinking," and they start showing me a bunch more memes, and I was like, "Okay." I thought
the submarine sinking that was meant to tour the Titanic that's sunken. It's like, oh man, the irony eats itself. It's made of strawberry.
I was just laughing too because I'm reading this article about OceanGate. This is written, I think, before their presumed deaths now because they found the wreckage and they haven't found bodies. So the shit imploded somehow. Not crazy though when you read a little update for you. So the Titanic is 13,000 feet below sea level. The ship was rated for 1,400 meters, which is like a third of that. And it's made out of carbon fiber instead of like steel or titanium or some sort of alloy blend. It's a carbon fiber. And yeah, it's a big hatchet job that it's like, how is this guy a billionaire? and yet he's running this hatchet job. And yeah, we're at the part now where we're learning the one of the safety tech control guys. He's like, yeah, this is not good to go. He got fired, and but he's glad of that. But he's very glad of that because he still has a job somewhere else now, I'm assuming. But there's some good memes. Let me share you this one meme I saw from a Aristophanes. You're aware of the George Kirby Floyd incident, right? George Floyd.
Yeah.
Kirby, Nancy Pelosi called him not Darth. Damn it, Darth Loverboy. Distracted me. Nancy Pelosi mistakenly called him George Kirby, and so that was like a meme about the story. But no, let me share you this funny meme. It's very apt for the conversation of George Floyd. Here is Poseidon kneeling on the OceanGate. Wait, are you seeing?
That's
the screen?
Okay. Well, somebody just
pretty funny stuff right there.
That's ridiculous entire situation, the whole thing.
Right. I was just telling Ricky, like, everyone can. Oh, wait. What's going on with Ricky? Oh, well. I was saying it's really fun because this is one of these, like, uniting things for us. Us on the right can laugh because this guy didn't want to hire 50-year-old white guys, quote unquote. And you there, Ricky?
Yeah, I lost you for a sec.
Oh, I'm good on my side. I don't know what's going on. I'm not seeing.
It's probably just on my side. I turned my phone off to see if it would work, and it seemed to be good for a little bit, but then it cut off. So,
yeah, but Darth Loverboy turned loose. Funny name. Says they won't find any bodies. At that pressure, the implosion turned them into pizza sauce.
New recipe maybe for a new restaurant.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it's a theme restaurant.
Pizza Cannibal Crust.
Get the OceanGate pizza.
Get the Cannibal Crust special.
It's an implosion on a crust.
Yes. This won't sink to the bottom of the ocean, but it will sink to your belly and out of your butthole.
Cheesy implosion inspired by OceanGate.
Don't go to the ocean. Just eat the pizza.
It's actually crazy. It's a random side tangent, but it's crazy that tomatoes are such like an Italian thing now, because until we found the New World, America and South America, no one in Europe ever had a tomato. Tomatoes are an American thing. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So it was fun because I was on have you ever heard of Mary Beard?
Mary Beard?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Real name. She's a classicist. She's done a bunch of like Roman documentaries.
Okay.
And yeah, I've watched like she did like a 4-part series about Rome, of like prequel, the heyday, the Republic, the Empire, and the fall. And in the fall era, she's talking, she uses a pizza to explain it. And so she's like, at this point, Rome was kind of like, everyone's kind of doing their own stuff in every pocket. There's really like 4 or 5 capitals across Rome, not just the 2 we know officially. And she broke up the pizza and she's like, well, like Rome would be like this tomato in the center, even though Rome never had tomatoes. And I'm like, wait, what?
Wait, what?
And so I was like, looking it up, and then I'm like, I'm reading about tomatoes, and it's like, oh, the South Americans, when the colonists of Spain and Portugal started coming over here, that's when like tomatoes started being transported back and forth. So
just drops an unimportant fact to the story, but you go on a rabbit hole down.
I go on a rabbit hole, and then because of that, I backdoor because there's this black guy at work that like he'll talk these like conspiracies about like education. Where it's like, oh, they don't tell you the first black guy died in the first guy died in American Revolution was a black guy. And I'm like, yeah, was it like Atticus Finch or something like that? No, like, Atticus Finch is fucking To Kill a Mockingbird, but I think it was like Crispin Attucks, I think was his name. And I'm like, yeah, I learned that in shithole Oklahoma. Like, I like Oklahoma, but like education wise, we're one of the poorest states. So our education is subpar compared to like New York or Texas or California, as far as like at least money put in and whatnot. I'm like, I learned that in Oklahoma history. What are you talking about? It's not a secret. And I'm
Sorry
like,
to disprove your
it's
theory.
like, yeah, it's like I'm from a super white Republican Trump state, and yeah, I learned that. So
also, a lot of those types of arguments are like carried over, because I'm sure like there is a point where that was true, but we're not still living exactly at that time. You know, progress is happening.
Right. And it's funny, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you know, it's like they teach you American history. They start at Columbus, and they skip everything and go to, you know, the Pilgrims or American Revolution." And I'm like, and that was an interesting point. And I'm like, huh, okay, I never really thought about that, because yeah, it's like American history is like, all right, the Americas are discovered at Columbus, confirmed. He goes back to Spain, exploration starts getting funded by the governments of the empires to come here, stake a claim. And I'm like, okay, so why? And it's like, it comes pretty obvious. The Spanish go essentially up to like the Rio Grande, and they just kind of stop because they're looking for, you know, like the Fountain of Youth and gold, but at best they found some silver. And it was just like, you know, sure, they had their armor and stuff to fight the Indians, but like, it was not an easy trip being over there. Plus the different diseases that would pop up and all, just everything, you know.
It was to them a new world. Like,
yeah,
the things that they say that he did, it's like, you don't understand how people used to treat other people. Like, you understand how people yeah, it's like, you don't understand. Yeah, but seriously, that's true.
Yeah, no, I thought about that a lot.
But
yeah, I thought,
you know, back then, yeah, it's totally fine. This guy found a bunch of indigenous people. What do you do other than take advantage of them?
Yeah,
what do you do other than treat them like a lesser species than yourself? You've been raised to believe that you are superior, and like, oh, I found these new people, they want to worship me. Who am I to like say no?
Right, they didn't
and commit a bunch
Muslims.
of atrocities at the time.
Yeah,
you know?
They didn't enslave the Muslims during the Crusades because it's like they're fighting a war with them. They're on equal footing. They view them as like, they might do things that are like, you know, taboo to them, but like they're a civilization. Yeah. And you see these Indians on the islands and in South America, it's like, these are savages.
They're like, look at those chimpanzees, but they're like a little different. Like, that's essentially,
like,
well,
legitimately,
they're not civilized. And it's so funny because like the idea of civilization was totally different for some of these people, because like, you know, this is the first time they're being introduced to a whole wave of technology that they haven't experienced. And so their entire way of life is without that stuff. So they have to incorporate it not only into their own lives or be wiped out, but you know, how do you deal with this new thing that is going to take over it's going to steamroll everything you understand. It's wild.
Well, on top of that, I think it's interesting too. I don't know if this is what applied, but like the different cultures meeting with each other at all means that different diseases kind of get brought to each other, but also the immunities that they'll be built up naturally. Like if you took a person from, you know, well, there's right now an island of primitive people that don't really even have like fire or some shit. Like they're like that primitive and they're kept that way so that, you know, you don't mess with it. But it's like, if you were to like try to incorporate them into society, they die from all our diseases. They don't have any immunities to most of our stuff. So they just die.
And if you look at like how many people die from worldwide diseases, like diseases trying to wipe out humanity, you'll see that like over time, they've become less effective. Because we have new technology like bathing. Like things as simple as we learned how to bathe. And it's like that started taking an effect against these diseases, let alone like modern technology like vaccines and things like that.
Yeah. And so even if we didn't, though, I think there'd still be some natural immunities brought up at some point. But yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying is it's naturally happening anyway. Like technology is part of it, but also along with technology has come, modernization, or people being in different communities where they would never have been before, like you said. So like America is a melting pot. Well, now the world is starting to become
exactly. Like if you want to go to a place that your body isn't ready for, just take the right medicines for it, and you'll be okay.
Yeah. When I deployed to Afghanistan, they made us take a smallpox shot, and then we had to take I think amoxicillin, or there's something they gave us that's supposed to be daily, because it was like, I guess, a common thing in Afghanistan. So I've experienced that personally. I don't know if I still got the scar on my shoulder, but yeah, you usually get I do have a small scar. It's way better than most people's though, because most people get like a really ugly scar from the smallpox shot, because they like take this like fairly thick gauge needle and they like stab you multiple times in the same spot, like bam, 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 bam. I don't know why we're in 2023 and this is still like a thing of like repeat stabbing for one immunization, but
it's like,
it just seems very archaic, you know.
You don't just take a drink and you're good or something.
Yeah. We have a better delivery system than that.
Like,
what are we currently
when
funding?
you get an MRI, they give you a drink. Like, you don't eat or drink for like 8 hours, and come in the morning, they give you this fucking drink, and it like show it because of how clean you are food wise, metabolism. It's gonna like, I guess, rush through your body pretty quick, ingesting it, and that helps the readout, I guess. So you got something like that, and it's like, oh, let's just stab you like 20 times with this thick needle. But the trick is, most people will just keep putting a band-aid over their wound. You want to air it out, and that helps it scab better if you like air out wounds.
Yeah, because everyone thinks like, oh, well, you get a wound, you just wrap it in bandages, and I'm just like, you're not a doctor, all right? I don't think just because you've seen them do that to one type of thing or seen it in a movie, that doesn't mean that's right.
Yeah, no, I'd wear a band-aid when I'm at work, and then afterwards I'd, gotta take my shirt off, or
because you don't want to see like people to see the big old scab or whatever. But
you go to sleep and you just let it air out. I do that with my finger. Like, I work with stuff that like shards easy, so you get little shards like in your nail sometimes if you don't wear your glove, or sometimes just pokes through your glove. So sometimes I'll get like an owie in my finger, so I gotta like wrap it for a day and like Neo and a band-aid. Then afterwards let it air out. But yeah, exploration stuff. Yeah, interesting with that whole thing. Why do we not learn about in American history like the conquistadors and stuff? It's more world history. It's like, well, it's because we're British.
Yeah,
America's British base. Yeah, we had French involvement because
the victors write history.
Well, not just the victors, but literally our laws, our templates are lifted from British common law. The rookie. Sorry. But yeah, they're from British common law. So we're British based, and that's who we split from governmentally. And so that's why we learn the way we do.
Yeah, like the people that wrote the original Constitution, things like that, were wealthy people. Like, and where did that come from? They didn't just spring out of the ground on American soil and go, I'll start America. Like they came from.
That'd be funny if we could take a time machine. It's like it actually literally happened that way.
Unlike commonly told in schools where everyone thinks they emigrated over from Britain, they actually just sprung right out of the ground.
It was a grassroots movement.
The true story. I was gonna say, grassroots. That's fantastic.
But yeah, I try to explain this to him because like he's from Chicago, and Chicago was founded by a black French guy. And it's like, well, that fucker's French, so we don't give a fuck. And also at some point we took it from him if Canada even had that spot. So you just kind of ignore that history. It's just not, and also it's like specific, like people that founded New York. It's like, that's very pertinent to all of American history, well, versus like Chicago. It's like it's an after the fact,
Yeah. That's like when people were like, why is the East Coast, and this might just be something I made up, but I was like, why is the East Coast more racist than the West Coast? And I'm like, that's not true. But if it is, it's because the Civil War happened here.
Yeah. You're in Maryland, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a key state. That's a border state.
Oh, it's right there. It's the Mason-Dixon line.
DC. Yeah.
They had to move the capital just because it was when it was in Maryland, it was too close to the South. And basically Maryland, as my friend, he's a Civil War buff, goes into all the time. He's like, the only reason Maryland was even considered like a northern state or whatever is because, you know, they got press ganged into it because they had the capital and they were too close to the South. And it's like, they would have been the South otherwise. And I was like, does this matter? Like now? Oh, damn. Like people.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird because like I'm from Oklahoma, which is like, you know, then you look at the states of like the Civil War and it's like Virginia's the South. Like what?
Yeah, because they're
kidding
like
me?
Because a lot of the
that's a Yankee
state.
state.
Because the North was basically just that slice up towards Massachusetts. Oh, but they had all the industrial centers while the South had all, you know, the
crops,
open land, which is just like a basic game of now. Like you're playing Civilization and you're like, okay, well, I don't want to. Yeah, it's just something now that you could pay attention to and see, but it's easy to look back on history, but
no, I have a lot of fun with that. But
I enjoy history though. Like I enjoy that. I need to actually go back and dive into some more. You've sparked my interest just by talking about tomatoes, but
yeah, exactly. You know what got me on all this for like the last year plus?
What
is Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Awesome, yeah, dude, I love that game.
I'm playing it and it's like this game helped me. That and Origins 4, because I'm like, all right, Egypt, there's Romans here, but there's Greek history.
And there's lots of like little tips and history things in the game that they tell you that I'm like, really? Holy shit. Like the thing about that's what I learned about the fact that when they made sacrifices to the gods, that they would, you know, cooking the meat essentially was just sending that up because the gods feasted on like the aroma of it, not on the physical. So they ate the meat for the sacrifices. My whole life I was thinking they sacrificed this and I was like, it just goes to waste or whatever. No, they'd actually eat that. The community would eat the sacrifice because the god was being sustained by what rose in the smoke.
You're right. The aromas. Yeah, no, it's
I blew my mind. I was like, I totally misunderstood like a big part of basic religions for a very long time, or like mythology, or the way people thought.
When you read the Bible, though, from what I understand, the Jews were not eating the sacrifices.
And maybe that's where I got it from, because I was raised Catholic, and that's a very
you know, me too. So like that's the difference. Like when you have the sacrifices to the gods, like they were still eating that, but the Jews, like that's just on the altar essentially, from what I understand. Maybe they did eat some of it, or I think that maybe they would piece out some of the sacrifice. Like part of it was like for the altar, and part of it was like for the priests, because like that's how they are living, because that's their job, is being like the you know, we think of it as rabbis today.
Well, that also it comes from an older tradition, which is like the first people, the first man, like hunters and gatherers. So they become aware at some point, like self-awareness, and they look and they start to understand the difference between life and death. I'm alive because I eat this food. Where does this food come from? That animal. That animal's alive, and I kill it to get what's inside it, and that keeps me alive. And I know that death happens to even people like me, because 1 minute someone's there and the next they're a corpse. Okay, so like there's something inside of us that is, you know, released when we die, or goes away when we die. And so the first
gas.
So that is what would go back to the collective consciousness. But so the meal is still there to eat. So originally one of the first you know, ceremonies of anything was you'd have like a dinner ceremony, and whatever the animal was, if it's like a bison, you fed the bison its own flesh first, because you're honoring its sacrifice, because its sacrifice is keeping the tribe alive. And that's where animal gods come from. But of course, people move past that as people evolve and civilization evolves. Our gods have evolved, but that's like the original thing. And you can see that in now the Greek thing. You could see that easily. That's Jesus Christ. He is the sacrifice. You eat of his flesh. That is the same exact thing as like what those people were doing. It's just a new mythology for a new time.
Yeah. But no, like when I was referencing Mary Beard, and it's all rooted back to Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So it's like, because the game starts with Thermopylae in 480, and I'm like, okay. And then you're playing like the 430s, I think, 450s, as Alexios or Cassandra. I always plays Alexios.
Me too.
Well, because before I got the game, I watched like this 2-3 hour like essay about the game, and he was talking about how like the gameplay is almost no different playing as Cassandra. So I'm like, well, if they don't really incorporate any like female specific storyline, then I'm not playing as a chick. Fuck off. But yeah, no, I think Rookie plays as Cassandra, which is funny because I wouldn't expect that from him. But I think he just went with like a horny decision on that one.
For what?
Hey, you can have sex with anyone either way.
For Odyssey.
What about it?
You say you play as Cassandra, right?
Oh yeah, she was hotter.
I get
Okay,
that.
well, okay, so I was playing Valhalla and Eivor. There's like you can play as a dude or a chick as well. Fucking ugly chick, and whatever. And then Cassandra's like, damn, all right, shit. As well as a better character so far.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
In Valhalla, the dude looks more like the Viking, and then the chick's like, hey, yeah, we don't need this. Character-wise, too, and voice and stuff. Like, I don't know.
Eivor. Let me look this chick.
Well, the new Star Wars game apparently is gonna have just a female.
Oh man, no, Eivor.
Do you see where I'm coming from then, Angus? Now, yeah.
She's got a very masculine face.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how they didn't watch the show Vikings with Lagertha and thought, oh, well, like that's not female. That's like I haven't
watched Vikings yet. It's on my list though.
I buy that chick being a warrioress, and also I buy her being a woman.
Right.
But sorry, what were you saying, Vase?
Oh no, continue. I think I remember seeing. Oh, I think I did. Okay, so I have an answer to that question. I'm going to send it to you. Send it to you over Twitter.
Okay.
Let's see. Because I saw a meme relating to this exact thing the other day, and I was like, I'll screenshot this in case this comes up in conversation. And look at that. So now I just need to find it.
As soon as you find it, okay. But yeah, with Odyssey, it made me like actually figure out a timeline of like, all right, Thermopylae, and then the Peloponnesian War, then Alexander, then Julius Caesar, and I know there's like 300 years or more before Julius Caesar, but that was like the game helped me like put the timeline in line of these like moments.
Oh yeah,
because it's like otherwise like, oh, how far apart was Alexander and Julius Caesar, and then Ptolemaic Egypt and Alexander, and it's like now it all adds up. It's because of the game. And so when I was playing like just grind mode on some of these like side quests or chasing the Cult of Cosmos,
right,
I would be listening to like documentaries while I was playing. So
that's great. Yeah, I do that kind of thing too. Like I just watch TV shows. That I should do that. That would help.
All right, let me see. Okay,
I don't know if that's relevant to what you're talking about. I just remembered screenshotting it.
I've seen this picture. I don't know what the fuck that chick's from, but ugly. Share screen. Well, sorry, Chris. What are you saying? Wow, too. You say more women involved in creating video games. Women feel threatened by depictions of attractive women. We get this. The designer is a non-binary trans femme, they, them, secretly a deer. Did you see the Dove commercial?
I have no idea.
Oh wow, you're gonna love this
because I don't watch TV with commercials.
No. This was on just like on people on YouTube were talking about it. It was on Twitter.
See, I don't know.
You got to get back to Twitter.
I
man.
got to get back in the game. I know. I've been slacking so hard.
I'll have to dig a little bit to find this through their posts, but yeah, it was a Dove ad. It's like, you see this going around, like, what the fuck is this? And it's like, oh, it's past the Crown Act. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through, and like one of their posts is like, thank you to X people for supporting the Crown Act, and it's like, they say an incredible step to protect against natural hair discrimination in the state of Texas.
Wait,
so yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that in a minute, but
the Sasquatches have had enough.
Whoa,
Bigfoot has had enough.
Laws about this now, though.
So a couple of days before that, they have this poster. It's like, here is your midweek reminder that black hair is and always will be professional. So maybe this is some like, okay, the Crown Act. This is one of the things they tweeted. Only 21 states offer protection to their citizens against this type of discrimination. We're working to pass the Crown Act nationwide, but we can't do it alone. Visit Dove/Crown, blah, blah. So in 29 states, black people can be denied opportunities for employment because of their hair. Black children can be denied education because of their hair. So this is the bullshit race baiting stuff of like, oh, hair. They don't like my hair. They're trying to legislate my hair.
Yeah.
Out.
I wonder if there is like a law that you can pass, like, because I doubt it, because it's like my hair is an extension of my body. It's a personal extension of me. Well, like, what if I shape my hair? And like, it's only a problem in a hypothetical, but like,
I mean, some jobs have like the requirement of, health and cleanliness a little bit.
Yeah.
So
this is a funny meme they shared. Make sure you're seeing this. Okay. Yeah, I'm sharing it. It says soap when you drop it in the shower. And it's just Dove bar on a skateboard. Just funny because I actually have Dove soap. Like, it's one of those things where like, oh, it's woke, boycotting because woke. And I'm like, I already got like 6 bars. I got on like a surplus of like cucumber scented Dove. Like, I love the scent of cucumber, so I'm not boycotting the best cucumber bar of soap in the world. Like, fuck you.
How many have you tried, Angus?
Enough.
Maybe there's better.
I mean, I do buy cucumber mint. It's like some sort of like natural soap from they sell at Kroger. They got these different scents, and it's like, all right,
You just need to rub yourself in cucumbers.
If I could afford that daily, then cool. Yeah, I mean, I was making cucumber water.
I think I'm just rolling in cucumbers over here. I wish.
Dude, cucumbers, the Biden, I used to get them 50 cents a piece. Now it's up to like 80 or 90 cents a piece. Biden has doubled.
And if you have any idea what that's doing to the pickle shares.
Oh my god, there's so much black crap on this fucking page. Jesus. When will it end? God, I keep seeing all these darkies. Wait, do you remember when this fucking commercial was, Ricky?
That was like a month ago, I feel.
Yeah, I know. Damn it.
What's up, Papa Cotton?
Maybe you have a better chance of YouTubing it. A clip.
They shut it down.
Yeah, they could have removed it. That's true.
We got it.
Well, this is an image. This is an image from their fucking campaign. Dove wasted their time making a gamer commercial.
Sure,
let me see if I
terrible.
can find it. Yeah.
Yeah, they like have this warrior chick like slay something. And
No, shut up.
I haven't seen it.
No spoilers. Okay.
Yeah. We wouldn't want to spoil a terrible commercial.
I looked up one thing because I was like writing something on the computer. I look up one thing for like relaxing music, and then I get this suggestion: 3 hours of soothing Batman vibes, deep ambient relaxation. It's like, I don't think of Batman and relaxation. Like, Batman,
where's the traitor? Why'd you say that name? But like,
yeah,
on loop.
Yeah, it's fucking stabbing Superman or trying to stab him, beating the fuck out of him after he kryptonites his ass.
Yeah.
Tell me where the drugs are.
You're going back to Arkham.
Yeah.
That's like relaxing beach noises.
Or it's just the sounds of punching. Or it's just the sounds of him punching people. Just,
Oh wow! Also a suggestion, Ben Shapiro.
Nicki Minaj just called me out on Twitter.
Why is this worth? Okay, it's you got your 50,000 views already, but like I don't. Who cares? Dove.
Well, it's anything. It's
Boomer.
it's content creation at its lowest.
Yeah. Oh god, now I gotta sift through all these fucking. Okay, I think I found it. Stupid fucking mouse. Okay, this is it. Let me share it. You're gonna love it. Hey, what's up, Papa Cotton? I know they said your name, but strawberry water is amazing too with lemon. Do you mean strawberry lemonade?
boom.
You're doing multiple produce items. You're making lemonade at this point. Like it's cucumber water with a hint of mint leaf. And it's so refreshing. Get home from work, pour a cold glass out of your pitcher. Minty freshness.
So I'm not a huge mint fan. I do like lemon though.
Well,
so lemon cucumber, I can say.
In that case,
but I'm not wasting strawberries on water.
Well, if it was like
I'm gonna
strawberry
eat
watermelon,
a strawberry. I'm just saying, if like I'm making this myself, I'm assuming that's
well, it's the essence. So just put like the butt, you know, the green stem part. Just cut that off, throw it in there. You're just gonna get the strawberry essence. But yeah, this is the riveting content you'll get here. Water hydration suggestions.
What's the best way to hydrate?
Injections.
Coffee enema.
IV.
Directly.
A saline solution.
Directly
Yep.
yes. All right, here we go. This is the riveting.
Is this a game for real?
No, just wait.
Okay. I was like, is this part of a game I don't play?
And the music's telling you, oh no,
What
look.
the fuck? Take your armor off in public.
Well, even more than that, she was more armored up before, and now she's less armored up. She has less armor on.
74% of
Oh
girls
my
feel
goodness.
underrepresented.
No. Let it go to the last image, because then it shows it shows that like the original chick is fatter than the game version that they're trying to have be the real thing. Like they showed on there. It's like, yeah,
So,
the real chick's fatter than the.
So that's what they're saying also is make virtual beauty real. So what they're trying to say is, remember the hot chick in the armor from the beginning? That's exactly the same as this. And if you don't think so, you're a bad person.
Well, and it's funny
I
because
can tell the difference between two images.
You know what it is? This is the classic. Your wife says she's bi, so you're like, oh, what do you think of that chick? You know, and it's like, nah. She'll like negger in some way. And it's because like, oh, she's a rival. She's fucking hotter than,
Yeah.
So you gotta like lower your standards for the possible three-way to be a chick that's uglier than your wife. So it's not even a real benefit to you. It's like, I'll just use my hand. I don't even want to fuck you.
It's not worth the hassle.
You've ruined it. Whatever. This is what this is. It's female logic has infiltrated every fucking thing that aesthetics matter, and they want to normalize substandards. Like I'm trying to learn this stuff like legitimately, on an academic level.
You're right.
About aesthetics.
Yes.
So this is what I need to start studying to comment on, because it's easy to go, oh, look at wokeness, but it's like what is the real what's like level 5, like calling out, oh, whoa, like that's level 0.01.
Oh, dude, you are speaking my language. I mean, this is like, I know I've talked to you about it before, but a class I took in college, semiotics, which is the study of signs and symbols. It's like, what do you see in one frame, and what does that mean, and and once you learn that, then you can, make your own images and understand how to do that. But it's breaking things down to their very core. And part of it in that class is reading comics, because they go from one image to another. And it's like, how did they do that? Why did they do that? What are they looking at? What a character is looking at creates an invisible vector line towards like a focus. So, you can say, what is this image right here say? And it's like, Dove, you can't call us fat. Like, you'll get in trouble. Like, look at that look. It's like, this is the new standard of beauty. It's like, anyone can be beautiful. But here's the thing. If
nothing is beautiful.
Yeah, if everything's beautiful, nothing is beautiful. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And you can't force people to think that is beautiful if they're not into it. If they're not into it.
See,
well, you can try.
They're trying to
You can try and brainwash people.
Yeah,
you need to like. It's literally what they do in the Velma show. It's like, now this ugly bitch is hot. Oh, geez. Like,
it is an attempt at brainwashing, though, and it's why people don't like. That's why there's a rebellion against these ad campaigns, against these shows. It's because, like, you don't see that happening against a good show. You don't. There's no mysterious mob trying to take down good shows. There's just
no one
fans
protesting fat ass Samuel Tarly staying fucking fat all 8 seasons. I told Rookie, I'm like, dude, this shit pissed me off. Like, I fucking hate Sam. Like, he's an endearing character. He definitely has like the Samwise Gamgee vibe. It's very clear, like, that is an inspiration for the character. But within this world, and he's got endearing moments, and he finds utility outside of being a warrior, like they're trying to groom him to be. And it's like, okay, it's cool because he's like, breaking out of just like staying in a mold, of the faction he's a part of. But this guy wanders the wilderness, the north, desolate, sparsely populated, tundra,
like where it would make
barely eating food. You're literally probably living off of boiling ice or snow to have water, to not just eat snow all day, which is killing your calories. If you can make a fire, and this guy somehow doesn't like lose weight.
Any weight. Yeah. It's like, however much you want to convey that that's what this character is, at a certain level, that starts to not make sense. And so where do you sacrifice realism? Do I sacrifice it in what a character looks like in the thing because of modern society? Or do I try and make this the best representation of the thing as possible? In which case, I should probably get this guy to lose some weight or whatever. But then he comes back and he's like, there's dragons and things in this, and the biggest complaint that you have is that I'm fat. And it's like, I didn't say that was the biggest complaint, but it is a complaint, and you can't just throw it away.
It's a complaint, but no one, like, the show's still good, where it's like, whatever. That's ultimately like a meaningless aesthetic for the show, because he doesn't do anything grand. That's like, a fat person can't do that, even in fantasy, So it doesn't hinder the show. It's not re-engineering.
He's meant to look like an underdog the entire time, I think.
They sure, they set him up with a chick who gets laid, but it's not like he's not fucking Daenerys. That Jon Snow, the hot guy that's worked out and uses a sword, he's the one who gets the hot chick. And so it's like everyone's got their levels, and so there's nothing that's like, oh, come the fuck on, But then you see this shit where it's like, I can't wait for fat Tomb Raider, but it's not going to be fat where it's like, oh boy, look at those fat tits and that fat ass. They made her a pog. It'll be like this shit.
Well, it's like with Tomb Raider, like, if she wore that same outfit, they'd say that it's too revealing or some shit. But it's like with the fatty, it's like, oh, isn't this like hot now? It's like,
and that goes to a point that I'm currently rereading The Wheel of Time, which when you were talking about tomatoes and history, I'm like, man, The Wheel of Time is so well written because it's its own history. It's its own everything. I love it. And so like I'm reading through, but the way they did the world building is a huge part of it. And so that's why I couldn't get through the first season of the show. Like a Wheel of Time show came out. Wheel of Time.
I want to watch it, actually. I know there's a book series that's way better than the show.
The book is what I'm talking about. The book's amazing.
I want to watch the show regardless, just to like, for me, it's not going to ruin it, especially if I start with the crappy show and then I read the book.
Oh, yeah.
Like, wow. It's like Thor Ragnarok.
I would recommend you go that direction.
And then you read the comic of Thor Ragnarok and it's like, what? You could have done that? But yeah, continue. Wheel of Time.
Yeah. So Wheel of Time, like part of the beginning is they come from this small village. And the way he set up the world is people from different places. Now, and this might strike you as crazy, but people from different places look a different way. So you can tell someone is from a different country based on the way that they look. This isn't a wild thing to do, you know, but so the people from the home village or whatever where they start out generally all look the same except for this main character, and that's because he was technically born somewhere else. He's the chosen one, blah blah blah. But that's
the white guy.
Sure. Well, that's actually he's more like he looks more like people that were called savages, and they rampage through the land. So, and they use spears and bows. So they're more actually like kind of like native peoples than this new technological. But they're generally brown skinned, but they have light eyes. And so the other people in his village are, you know, white people with brown eyes. And then if you go different places, there's like Japanese people, there's black people, but they're all, you know, Japanese people from Japan. Like it makes sense as these people are where they're from. So when they do the Wheel of Time, the new thing, it's got to be diverse. Well, his village looks like it's the most diverse place ever. And I'm like, they didn't have the technology at the time in the thing to mix like this, to have this thing. And it's a part, is it a complaint that ruins the show? No, that's not going to ruin the show. But it is a weird thing. Like if you were staying true to the book, you would have the people from this village look different from the people in this other place. And that makes sense. It makes just as much sense as an African person looking African, or, you know, a person of Nordic descent looking Nordic. That's just how, but people want to over diversify. You know, that's the thing, is like everything has to be super diverse. It's like not everything is a modern day city. It doesn't make sense in a fantasy where they don't have the technology to be that diverse, to have that airplanes taking people different places. They don't have that technology, so this wouldn't be happening. The cities are diverse, when they go to different cities, once they experience the wider world, there where people have trade and there's shipping vessels and there's, you know, lots of there they see the diversity. But you shouldn't have it in the small village. That's like having an Amish village that's super diverse. That's like having an African village that's got like white guys in it. Like why would that be there? Because we're pushing diversity. I don't know.
Hold on. It's funny that we're on this because I wasn't planning this, but this is actually a bookmark and this ties in perfectly with this Dove ad. As soon as I get into the article, I have to like create an account to read it. It's some bullshit. Find code. Oh my god. What? No, I don't. Okay. God, they got. You freak. No, I don't. Ugh! God damn it. Anyway, there is this article that Charlie Kirk shared from EV Magazine. It says attractive women were more likely to be right wing, while left women were ugly. Not that they say that, but that's the takeaway. I can't actually look at the article because I need to make an account. Fuck that. It's like complete your free account to unlock 5 articles. Let me try this. It's saying they just want my name, so let's see. Okay, it let me through. Thank God. Let me share it. Share screen. There's always a lag on that window popping up. Chat. Fatties should stay on the ground. They freak me out a little on planes, to be honest. They don't need to accommodate these people. They need to be banned from flight. Same with elevators. Use the cargo lift. And fat, unattractive women need to STFU. Just saying. You asked. Yeah, lay it on me. I love it. So, how do you really feel? All right. EV magazine. Attractive women are more likely to be right wing, while left wing women showed more contempt, according
What
to
is
study. This is by Scientific Reports. Physi. I know the word, but saying it.
Physiognomy.
Physiognomy. Yeah. The practice of deciphering a person's personality based on appearance dates back to 500 BC. The question is it pseudoscience or does it actually hold credibility? Yeah, there is a trend, like, people like to talk about the Greek profile pic bros. Like, they always have like statues of Greek stuff.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, that's a trend. It's like they're always right wing or they're Nazis or whatever. It's like the meme of that group. It's like the generalization. And it's like, yeah, no, this is a thing. I think, like, you see it in leftism versus the right. It's like, what are great works of the right versus the left? And it's like left leaning people can make great works for it. You see it in Hollywood, Scorsese. I would say Eastwood's probably a centrist, but he's both ways, kind of, I think, politically. But yeah, there's something versus like right wing. It's more simple, but it will exemplify the greatest like perceived virtues. There's a lot of like clear aesthetics usually with the right, and there you see it, at least politically. There's a gravitation to certain things politically, like the destruction of Star Wars, The Last Jedi. Almost everyone that likes that voted for Joe Biden. There's something
liking that movie. A lot of people consider me, like, they look at me and they say that guy's liberal, or they hear me talk about stuff and they're like, that guy must be liberal. But then it's like, all right, so Star Wars, you must love the new Star Wars. It's like, no, I hate them for reasons that I can lay out, for very legitimate reasons that have nothing to do with the reasons they said people didn't like them. Like, anyone who doesn't like this is a sexist. Anyone who doesn't like this that was like a smoke screen that they used to weaponize the same people that claim to like it, but actually care nothing more about it than what they can do with it sociologically or politically.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because they're saying about this appearance study goes back to 500 BC. There's going on with the whole Odyssey and my documentary stuff. Let me turn my camera really quick. Here we go. So you see behind me, I got Athena and the owl. Like, I've gotten into Hellenism. I still call myself atheist, but I've gotten into Hellenism and
nice.
Going through that journey slowly but surely. Trying to read the Iliad, the Odyssey, dive into the Greek philosophers. Well, it's because I don't know how much you know about Nietzsche, but I'm starting to learn about Nietzsche. And I'm kind of irritated because it's like these things I've started tying together loosely. It's like, this guy already figured it out like 200 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
The Greeks were the greatest society. They're the highest society we've ever had. My view, I've come to like, well, the Greeks were like perfectly balanced nature and industry. They were reaching for the heavens in various fields, but they're tied to plagues and famine and war and just the land revolting against them every day, and so that's why you get the people who they were. And the idea, it's the root of us, is the Greeks, and Leonidas exemplifies that. He is the pinnacle man, that is the hero we should be worshiping. And that got me on the trend of like ancestor worship, because like, I'm an atheist, but I see the lack of like direction.
We've come from somewhere.
Yeah, and so I thought about ancestor worship, and then I started looking at statues. I saw like, oh, there is like, history of, kind of cults of big people in history like that with the Greeks. And so, not crazy, Alexander was a god king, like, and maybe there's some truth to that, honestly. You look how divine his role, as brief as it was in society, and the reach it had and the effect it's had for ever since. And so, yeah, we should be reaching to the heavens, reaching to the guys on earth who have done, and that's what got me into Hellenism. And it's like, so that's, this is like a guiding light for it. Doesn't matter if the gods are real. It's the idea.
Have you read Joseph Campbell's The Hero with 1,000 Faces?
No, I have one. Of
I
books,
cannot more highly recommend a book to you or to anyone than that. Especially with what you were just talking about. You should definitely read that when you get a chance.
Yeah, I plan to actually. It's just I got so much I want to read and ingest.
Oh, I understand.
I'll never finish.
That's just the one that changed my life. So I recommend it highly.
Yeah. But yeah, with that, I was listening to the Gad Sad interview probably last year on Rogan, and he was talking about he's got a friend that's into like philosophy and Greeks, whatever, and he's like, oh, like that thing you're studying or you reading about scientific research. It's like, yeah, the Greeks, they like figured that out like 3,000 years ago. They just couldn't quantify it, with data, but like these were their assumptions. And like he was saying how it's kind of funny that like these things are chasing in science in certain fields. It's like you're just rounding back to them and what they already figured out. It's like we've gone a really long way about getting there. And
circular paths, man.
Right. And so that just adds more like these
circular
fuckers,
paths
3,000 years ago figured out the circumference of the earth and the curvature of the earth.
Sacred circle, bro.
They figured it out with shadows on sticks, like it's like
the sacred circle.
That, and then like, oh, I'm in Egypt, I can't see the North Star, and it's like, yeah, because they were on a sphere, like, just how smart they were, And so it's like, yeah, I think we should be reaching. And so then I'm learning about Nietzsche, and it's like, yeah, he already figured this stuff out, and so it's like, all right, finally, I have someone to give me direction with aesthetics and everything I'm into.
Well, this guy I was doing Dungeons and Dragons with said something about us descending into hell, and I was like, well, you got to go through hell to get to heaven. He's like, what the hell are you talking about? And I'm like, Dante's Campbell. Inferno, or Joseph Campbell. But I'd say Joseph Campbell is applicable to almost anything, because once you see what he's talking about, at least as far as story structure goes and things like that, it's also tied in human psychology and everything that humans can ever dream of doing or have dreamt of doing in our subconscious. So it's ridiculous.
Sorry, I'm catching on this channel quick.
I see.
He says, never trust a skinny chef.
That's true. Because they're poisoning the food.
Well, that, or just like they're cooking everything raw and giving,
or badly, so badly they don't want to eat it.
They're giving everybody fucking, food poisoning.
A baker's dozen is 13. That's one more for the baker, so they can eat it. If they're skinny, you don't trust them.
I thought it was more for if you dropped one on the ground, you got an extra one.
Replacement.
Also, bread makes you fat, so baker's dozen.
That's the other thing. Oh, I'll show you in a minute. But me and Rookie, 2-month challenge, $100 on the line, possibly side bets as well, and possibly once I make up the Teespring, any sales of the merch will be for. We might do like a pod of that as well, so incentivize the fans to give us money too. Who's going to be less fat at the end of this challenge? It's called Duel of the Fats. Get it?
I wish I was involved.
I'm surprised you, the Star Wars guy, don't get the joke.
I get it. It's Duel of the Fates.
Yeah. Yeah. We were just talking one day, and I said something, I'm like, holy fuck, Duel of the Fats, Rookie. Perfect. We just had to lose one letter. It works. But also because we're Star Wars guys. That's how we became friends, because Star Wars talk. And so it's so apt that we're dueling, We've come to blows now. And I'll show you the art later. But yeah, apparently, I don't know where Ricky's at, but I've already lost 5 pounds, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm doing it. Like, I was already on a losing trend, not even on purpose, just because I work in a factory, so I'm like fucking sweating all the time. So my job's kept me level. Like, I've probably peaked out at like 325, but I've never crossed that, and I've been hovering at like 310, 315 for the last like year or two at my job, and now I'm like, I've mostly cut out carbs completely, besides like high fiber or fruit. So I'm like, fuck, it kind of hurts me if I'm already losing weight that I might stall compared to him. But at the same time, I'm on a good trend versus Rookie. So it's a double-edged sword. But yeah. Anyway, continuing the article. The research took place in Denmark and utilized machine learning techniques on thousands of faces to predict their political ideology. Study led by Stig Hebelstrup and his research team explored if computational neural networks, or CNN, can accurately determine a politician's political stance based on a single photograph of their face. Sounds dystopian, right? Surprisingly, the predictions were successful 61% of the time. 60% of the time, it works every time. CNN aims to learn patterns and connections in data by adjusting neuron links. This learning process is referred to as training or optimization. So whenever there's an output error, the functions are modified in the previous nodes to be more accurate each time. The training process took some work. Hebelstrup and his colleagues used who's the fucking guy in Headless Horseman? What's his name?
You know, that one guy.
Was it like Ichabod Crane or something?
Ichabod Crane, yeah.
That's not it. Rumpelstiltskin. That's what this name's making me. Hebelstrup. It sounds like a fairy tale.
Because he's Danish.
Right, yeah. But Hebelstrup and his colleagues used photos of Danish politicians with the first data set consisting of 5,200 pictures. Those who were more moderate or could not be identified as right or left wing were excluded. They also excluded candidates of non-European origin because they were 2.5 times more likely to be representative of left-wing parties. Yeah, why do you think they're letting all the immigrants in America? I wonder why. Lastly, the researchers removed photos of politicians with beards because they can impair some of these subsequent analyses. In the end, they are left with 4,600 images, with 1,400 of them being female. Sample was divided by both genders, and the algorithm was applied to them separately. They found that masculinity and attractiveness weren't linked to ideology in men, but happy faces, both men and women, were likely to be representatives of right-wing parties. I like how this study is transphobic. Meanwhile, politicians who had a neutral expression or showed contempt were more likely to represent left-wing ideologies. How interesting, but we're not surprised. 3 years ago, we reported on a study that revealed over half of white liberal women under 30 have a mental health disorder.
Over half.
That's facts now.
Who could have guessed that? These findings were backed by more recent data that showed that liberal women are statistically the unhappiest and most mentally ill demographic in America. We have science now. I'm hearing Anchorman. He's like, it's a scientific fact.
It's a scientific. But
it's the truth.
Like, it's Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady. That is a scientific fact.
Not Anchor Man.
So, as we all know, most U.S. media leans to the left. So could the harmful narratives and advice be the reason for liberal women's unhappiness? Believe it or not, it's not the first way to come out on attractiveness and political beliefs. In 2018, a study from the Journal of Public Economics echoed these findings by stating that attractive people were likelier to be right-wing. Authors Rolf Das Terson, I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Me neither.
Maybe it's a typo, Peterson. And Carl Palmer wrote, controlling for socioeconomic status, we found that more attractive individuals are more likely to report higher levels of political efficacy, identify as conservative, and identify as Republican. So if you want to be beautiful, vote red. Let's go back to the Danish.
That's how that works.
Yeah. You vote Republican, you will be, in fact, prettier.
You will
happier.
get more attractive if you vote Republican. That's what this study is saying.
That's what Trump needs to do.
Mike.
He just needs to do an ad of him at the newest runway model show and have all these Victoria's Secret girls
These
on
ladies
his
are
arms.
Republicans. Why aren't you?
yeah. It's like you want to grab them by the pussy and vote Republican. Look out! I'm rolling in badge because I voted red. That's gonna get especially with Andrew Tate being such a divisive figure because all these boys are watching, because even if it's preposterous like how he's delivering it, what he's saying is resonating to young men that are tired of this Dove campaigns, for instance. You know, they're tired of being talked down to, like,
You shouldn't boycott women, you bigot.
And those commercials in that vein have done traditionally bad. Like the Pepsi campaign where she's like steps out in front of all the riot
Cops.
squad. Yeah. And she's like, that campaign was gonna suddenly stop the violence, you know? Like,
well,
what?
Honestly,
the fuck?
it was.
Buy a Pepsi and it'll all be over. Like, what the fuck? And then that Gillette ad where the guy's like, nah.
Boys will be boys.
Yeah. And then the fact that they parodied those things in the show, The Boys, in that commercial.
Fuck yeah, with A-Train. Yeah.
A-Train had to do that. And they had another one because The Boys is great because it's a mirror to the movie industry. That's why I love how they have different scenes. Like they show when they're in the movie of like the movie they're going to release of The Boys. And then they walk onto the set of them filming The Boys. And it's like, they treats people like shit and crazy stuff's going on. And, you know, just holds up that mirror. Like, this is what is actually like. And so they're making fun of those commercials because it's like, here's the biggest, most obvious examples of them trying to like pander and preach. It's pandering and preaching. And I barely like either one. So just stop doing that. And commercials are very hard put because their whole job is to try and advertise something to you. So half the time these things they do are, you know, they're just stunts to try and get people to buy their thing, but it's backfiring on them now because it's like, I was buying beer because I like to drink beer. Don't tell me how to feel about about anything. Like, what? Since when does a beer company tell you how to feel about anything other than
if a beer company is trying to really get to the heart of stuff, they should have an ad of like, you know, divorcees or something. They're down on their luck. They work a shitty job. They're just like in a rut. And it's like, oh, you know what won't let you down? A nice cold Budweiser. Or 30 of them for the night. You know, have a, you know, it's like, you know, make it where it's like an animated thing like Toy Story or something. It all comes alive. All the beer cans like, hey, welcome home, buddy. It's a hard day. Let's help you ease the pain. You know, like
lean into it.
That would, you know, that would be so self-aware of like, we sell 30 racks to alcoholics. You know, like
we'll
that
sell
would be
this
the
to
sell.
anyone who will buy it.
Who cares if you got a drink and problem? We love that about you.
Dude, that's my favorite part is like every commercial they have to do, they have to include at some point like drink responsibly. And the whole point of like when you drink any alcohol, it immediately starts lowering your inhibitions. So as soon as you drink anything at all, it's impossible for you to act responsibly. Like technically,
one drink for at least an hour, you are compromised. Legally.
Because here's the thing: it's like, well, I'll just have one drink, and you had one. It's like, well, now two seems like a good idea, and then you have two, and your inhibitions keep lowering. It's like this is why you have alcohol.
Also, if you're like a rookie, you know, you're 300 pounds, then fucking one beer is not going to put me on.
Oh, it's nothing. Oh yeah, that's another thing too. Is... Yes.
But yeah, let's continue. Here we are. Let's go back to the Danish study. 60% isn't high, but it's not exactly low either. Considering this seems like the first time Hibblstrup's done this, that rate is actually pretty good, and there's a chance it will only increase with more training. Our results confirm the threat to privacy posed by, this is a quote, by deep learning approaches using a pre-developed and readily available network that was trained and validated exclusively on publicly available data. We were able to predict the ideology of the pictured person roughly 60% of the time in 2 samples. The author concludes. They continue, we will also provide the first demonstration that model predicted ideology connects to independently classifiable features of the face. For females, though not males, high attractiveness scores were found among those the model identified as likely to be conservative. These results are credible given that previous research using human raters has also highlighted a link between attractiveness and conservatism. And then Evie ends up saying, Evie deserves to be heard. Support our cause and help women reclaim their femininity by just. And so, okay, I'm just wondering what is the actual political sign of this thing, because the next article, trans-identified woman says she's lonelier than ever in emotional. I understand why the suicide rate is higher in men.
I don't. So. That's oh.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
Oh, there it is.
Honestly, the one with the brown bra, it's like she's like the right figure.
She's thickness, yeah.
And then the one on the floor is like, well, if I can't get the one in the brown bra, then okay. And then the black one, it's like, oh god, you're just gonna be like a real fucking headache. Never mind.
If the upstairs is like the downstairs, I'm worried about the.
Well, no, I like.
Fro?
I am a
fro.
I'm a jungle man, so to speak. I like to rough it in the bush, so to speak.
Then run through the jungle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Born to coom, my friend. It's on my helmet.
How do you have sex? I imagine I'm in Vietnam.
Yeah.
every time.
I'm trying to sneak up on Charlie.
It's funny. We have these things. Like Rookie's like, what is a 5 o'clock shadow? And so I'm like, all right. I surmised why it would be called a 5 o'clock shadow. And then I do the research. And it's like, oh, actually, it's exactly what I thought. It's like, oh yeah, it looks like it's 5 o'clock and your stubble's grown in. And so you come to work with a 5 o'clock shadow. It's like you need to shave. And so it's funny. Or like, why do they call him Charlie? And it's like, I actually don't know why Viet Cong would be called Charlie. And it's like, well, Victor Charlie was the phonetic title for the Viet Cong, VC. If you say that on the radio, Victor Charlie. So they just call it Charlie, and that's where the old Viet Cong. I was gonna say Gooks. The Viet Congs would be called Charlie.
Military slang.
Yeah. Oh, and
like
Chris Fisk, he's my co-host on Tuesday comic streams. We host people. He's Korean, and he's telling me the term gook came from Korean. Actually, I didn't know that it was a Korean specific. I thought it was just a catch-all for Asians. And he's like, no, it's Korean because in Korean War, they would call Americans me gooks. And so the Americans like, no, you gook. Like they're probably thinking they're trying to talk broken English. And so they rebut them. And it's like, it actually comes from our stupidity, but that's hilarious. So it gives me a laugh every time thinking about it.
But yeah, that's how some of that stuff starts. And it's war too. So, the senses of humor just.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We called the Afghans, all the Arabs call them Hajis because they're Muslim. They go on the Hajj.
I watched Generation Kill. That was
someone told me to watch that, and I'm like,
have you ever seen it?
I haven't watched it yet. I need to.
It's you've been in the military, so I assume you know more about it than I've never been in any sort of service in that way. But watching that, I've watched World War II stuff, and I've watched farther back in history stuff, but this is like very recent stuff, kind of in the stuff that we're still embroiled in today. And just seeing it from that perspective, I thought, it's not only hilarious, but also like super fucked up. And I was like, this is, I think, if you can't stomach or you can't, look at real pictures of a real war, like I think they did a good job trying to really bring that to the audience. But yeah, Generation Kill. And because that same buddy of mine from high school who's into the Civil War knew that another guy that we went to high school was actually one of the characters in the movie. Or it's
that's cool.
Based off him. Yeah. So we watched it. And
and then you're like, God, don't ever come to my house again.
Holy shit. Oh man.
No, that happens. I try to tell people like give them perspective because it's not so outlandish, but our society's so pussified. You know, you watch. I've only seen one episode of Band of Brothers, but I really like it, and it's cool that they got these intro scenes of like actual vets from that era, and because World War II is so fucking awesome. It's so cool. Like, you know, it's why Star Wars is cool because it's based off World War II dichotomy, you know?
Yeah. It's like, if you ever think that like Star Wars is just for fantasy or whatever, it's like, okay, that might be what's interesting. But if you're interested in this stuff, like look at your real life. Like this happened in the real world that we live in. Like, how can you not find that?
Yeah, like, you know, the whole like
compelling
TIE fighter. It's you know, they've mimicked like, you know, dogfight footage of, you know, they shot a plane and you hear it go, you know, and you hear the TIE fighter. Wah! That's a fucking dogfight sound. Like, it's so cool. But no, World War II is like the perfect blend of like new tech, but it's still like mass carnage. You know, it's still a bloody battle. It's still in the
and it was
trenches
after World War
sometimes.
One. World War II would have been shit without World War One.
Yeah.
Set up all the battle lines.
Yeah, honestly. It's a great example. Like, you don't want to beat down, you know, when you have a fair fight and a guy loses, you don't browbeat the guy into self-hate. Like, that should be the like what Germany did and why they rallied behind Hitler and that ideology.
Perfection.
Politically, not even talking about like the Jew stuff, whatever. But you know, like, you know, there's a reason why nationalism really like took hold. And nationalism isn't bad. Nazis have kind of tainted that word. Nationalism is good. Like, every person in their country should be a nationalist for their country. Even if that means they're anti-government in their country. Like, I'm very anti-American government, but like,
it's American. Like, I love America. I think
and that's why we need to overthrow the government.
Yeah,
because that's what our founding fathers did. And you know, like, we're experiencing the same thing happening.
Yeah,
you know, we need need a civil war,
some sort of better plan. It's just we're dealing with different technology now than they were then, but maybe we should try some of the same things, you know. And I think that is what people are trying with like free speech on the internet. It's like, I got to reach as many people as I can for as you know,
because I'm interested in the law, and if I can ever, you know, take care of debt and stuff, get back in school, get a degree, a real goal of mine, I'd love to become a lawyer. Honestly, it's very interesting to me. It sucks because I'm so fucking reading. I got to read so much to do that. But I was, because of that interest, I was listening to a sort of debate conversation of these two justices at the time, Scalia and Breyer. Breyer just retired actually this year or last year. He's a liberal justice. I think he was a Clinton appointee. But anyway, it was interesting. So we're having a conversation, and it's about kind of like the two perspectives ultimately that dictate these justices ruling on constitutional law in the Supreme Court. And Breyer, like, Scalia kind of surmised what Breyer's talking about. It's like, yeah, you know, it's kind of wishy-washy, you know, it's just how you're feeling on the moment versus like, well, what does the law say? And how do we apply it to new things? Like, he's like, Breyer would tell you this stuff's complicated and we can't rely on this document for new phenomenon. Like, he's like, I'll tell you, it still applies. And he gave example. There was new technology cops are using to target houses for possible marijuana possession and growth in their houses, because it would like show up hotter.
The scandal. I remember that. Now I remember seeing, like,
it would show up hotter on whatever scanner they were doing, and so they would target those houses, get warrants or whatever the case, or just bust in. And so he's like, well, this is a new technology, but this still applies to the Fourth Amendment of unlawful search and seizure, so it's very easily applicable, regardless of it being new technology that the founding fathers had no idea about. And it's like the principle is implicit in the law, and it's still applied, and that's how you rule. And it's just very interesting getting that perspective from like one of the smartest people in history on American law, being a justice of the Supreme Court. You know, I think they have something to say. You know, and also these guys will do residencies at Harvard, in between like their stints on the court. And I don't know, it's just a lot of cool stuff about American law, but at the same time, I see American law and democracy, even a Republican-based democracy, where it's like, I almost Nietzsche, like, get rid of the shit. Go back to like kings and tyrants, because like the people should not have
Kings
a voice.
and tyrants, dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
So
people should not have a voice. The
that's-
general populace are
that's-
plebes. They don't care.
That
They
is
don't
chapter 2 of the preface of Joseph Campbell here with 1,000 Faces is Kings and Tyrants. And you're gonna eat it up, dude. I'm telling you. I'll tell you again. No, kings and tyrants, because a king is someone that gives of themselves to the people. Once you have become a king, they have invested of themselves in you. You are no longer just a private individual. You are now a king. It is your responsibility to do what is in the best interest of the people. A tyrant is a king that is using that for their own self-interest, for their own ego, for their own devices. They are not using it for the best good of the people. They're just using it for themselves or their own personal goals. And that's like the basis of the king and tyrant, entire idea. And so, but then the hero is, either supposed to reveal the king or the tyrant, or become the new king. That's the Lion King, is just taking your place in society. But that's why there's, just like that article we're reading, there's so much mental instability and so many things is because our society doesn't have defined values of what you should be. Like back in the day, if you were in a village, if you were a man, you had to go hunt. You were a woman, you had children, and that's just your daily life. Now our society, that is not, if you're a man, whatever, do whatever makes you happy, is apparently our new societal.
Yeah, this makes me
value.
think of like a perfect meme to encapsulate, like, oh, it wasn't even America, and it's like SpongeBob and Patrick, like I think it's like Squidward imagining him or something, but it's like hey, SpongeBob, what are you gonna do? He's like, I don't know, what do you want to do? He's like, I don't know, what do you want to do?
Yeah, and it's like
That,
you're not
really
bettering yourself
sums
at all.
up America. Like, there's no direction. There's, like, for men or women. Like, yeah, we have a gynocentric control of our ideology and stuff, sure, but it doesn't even serve women, because women are on, half of them, if not more, are on birth control and SSRIs. They're mentally unstable. Their hormones are out of whack. There's been studies that show not only that the mass use of birth control is in the water, and thus decreasing testosterone and fertility in men, because we're not properly filtering out. I don't know if you can or if you could, it's so cost ineffective to actually properly filter the water for these molecules, yeah, it's just, there's a lot of craziness going on for the world, and I don't think it's necessarily, a lot of people like to go Illuminati or whatever. Someone's pulling the levers.
Well,
like,
right
this
now
is all happenstance. But then the
Yeah.
people that are in power, they catch on, and then they turn it up to 11 when they figure it out. And so we're just getting a tidal wave of all these things at once, like the bad food, the food pyramid, processed food. You know why, like, processed food is such a thing? It's because we had the Great Depression. Our food was put in jeopardy, and so scientists figuring out ways of mass production for the good. But then there's the side effect afterwards, where you're like, actually, there's like genetic modification, and high processing. This is actually intended to save lives.
It was intended to save lives. Because we were out of food. So how do we, this will help save our food. Well, now we don't necessarily need it anymore. But companies have found out that it's cheaper for them. They make more money if they put these preservatives and things. That way they don't have to make necessarily new things. They can just package things and keep packaging things and keep making money, because money is the biggest focus now.
Yeah. Well, it's not even
not that
money.
It wasn't always, but
so okay. That's one thing that I will have to, I guess, define. I'm not countering you. I agree. I have to define.
It's part of it. I'm not going to say
because people are inherently, we're all greedy, because we're all fucking monkeys. We're animals.
Yes.
We want resources. Wealth is how we quantify our ability to have resources for our survival and well-being. All right. So that's a natural incentive for the species, for just animal kind. But the problem is not even greed. Greed should be a motivator for industry, for innovation.
But at a certain point, shouldn't it go back to the country? Wouldn't that be the nationalism you were talking about? Like billionaires, for instance, shouldn't they be putting more back into the basic nation?
Right. So that's the thing is like,
how do you feel about that?
We've made a society. I'm just talking about the West in general. And this is the shortcoming of the Greeks, our progenitors, is that all this stuff boils down to individualism, as much as possible within society. Do what you want.
Okay.
And we've not incentivized any value-based wealth where it's like that guy is rich because he's worth being rich. Like Julius Caesar.
Right.
He was a servant. Rich. He was a servant in the Senate and worked his way up and accrued wealth and was a general and conquested for his own glory, but also for the glory of Rome.
What motivates everything? God, glory, and gold.
Yeah.
And it's because they're all tied into the same thing.
We've taken, like, we've removed God from money. It's like, you read these stories like what Solomon made, like, I think it quantifies like trillions of dollars by our standard, the temple, his wealth was put into venerate God,
Yeah.
Anything
because that's what they thought.
Yeah, the pyramids are tied to their like God / Pharaoh worship.
And that's why if you had gold, you were considered godly. Like the acts you are doing must be good because you've got gold. God is shining down on you, and I can tell because you've got the gold.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be Christianity. I think people really get stuck on that.
Yeah.
Because
it's everything.
The left is godless, sure. But in a way, they're not. It's like they serve an amoebus god of whoever their handlers are dictating.
Yeah, they're not actually serving God.
America's
they're serving
like,
Christianity.
It's like, no, we just need to like invoke spirituality. You don't have to have a defined religion to like. I think it helps. I think a defined religion, like look at the Middle East.
I think there's nothing wrong.
Middle East will outlast America because they'll never surpass what we are. Like Dubai, whatever.
Sure.
They're rich. They got oil, but like culturally, what impact do they have on the world besides making like people want to go there for a party?
They're imitating us just like we imitated the Romans when we built a bunch of stuff here.
But like the Muslims community in large in the Arabic world, they're never going to like crescendo to barring something just wacky. Their culture is never going to like reach the peak of society that we're all striving for or whatever, but they're never going to dwindle to like savagery, to being tribal,
Sure.
They're going to be in the middle because they have something that like their culture kind of holds them back from the next level, but at the same time it keeps them from going down. They're always going to kind of stay at that level, and in a way I kind of envy them because they have continuity. They have an identity. In America, we're by our own hubris, our secular laws.
Well, that's
going against the.
That's what I'm trying to do. Crown. You got to read. Can I read to you? Can I read you the first?
Okay. Yeah. Read whatever.
All right. Hold on. Let me open it up. Joseph Campbell, Hero with 1,000 Faces. Myth and Dream, is that what I want to do? Okay, let's read. Okay.
I wish he would have did a second book like Jordan Peterson where it's like 12 more rules for life.
Well, you also got to remember, 12 rules for life, that's based on the 12 steps of the hero's journey, which he actually has more, but 12 is a magic number.
I think it'd be funny if it's like the hero with 1,000 more faces as like a sequel.
Yeah, part 2. So the prologue is 4 parts, and it's just talking about the idea of the monomyth, which is the one myth, the one story that's behind all other stories. But in the preface, he talks about a lot of different stuff. But part of the thing that he talks about when he's talking about in relation, like what is the purpose of this book? Okay, so here it is. It is the purpose of the present book to uncover some of the truths disguised for us under the figures of religion and mythology by bringing together a multitude of not too difficult examples and letting the ancient meaning become apparent of itself. The old teachers knew what they were saying. Once we have learned to read again their symbolic language, it requires no more than the talent of an anthologist to let their teaching be heard. But first, we must learn the grammar of the symbols. And as a key to this mystery, I know of no better modern tool than psychoanalysis. Without regarding this as the last word on the subject, one can nevertheless permit it to serve as an approach. The second step will then be to bring together a host of myths and folk tales from every corner of the world and to let the symbols speak for themselves. The parallels will be immediately apparent, and these will develop a vast and amazingly constant statement of the basic truths by which man has lived throughout the millenniums of his residence on the planet. All right, there's a little bit more, so I'm going to keep going. If you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm listening.
All right. Perhaps it will be objected that in bringing out the correspondences, I have overlooked the differences between the various Oriental, Occidental, modem, ancient, and primitive traditions. The same objection might be brought, however, against any textbook or chart of anatomy where the physiological variations of race are disregarded in the interest of a basic general understanding of the human physique. There are, of course, differences between the differences between the numerous mythologies and religion of mankind, but this is a book about the similarities. And once these are understood, the differences will be found to be much less great than is popularly and politically supposed. My hope is that comparative elucidation may contribute to the perhaps not quite desperate cause of those forces that are working in the present world for unification, not in the name of some ecclesiastical or political empire, but in the sense of human mutual understanding. As we are told in the Vedas, truth is one, the sages speak of it by many names. All right. Did you get that?
Sounds like a lot of Biden propaganda, if you ask me. No,
Are you
that's
kidding?
good stuff. That's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Oh my god, that's in the prologue. That's before the book even begins. But it's talking about how the differences that we see in things like the modern day, like there's no way what can I learn from a myth from like 1,000 years ago? And it's like, what do you think is happening in the world today? Do you think it's really that different? Because I can tell you, not necessarily, not from a human perspective.
No, it is interesting. I mean, I love Star Wars, and I know it's essentially from the mind of Campbell.
Yeah, totally.
Encapsulated by Lucas. I've summarized Star Wars is the greatest plagiarism ever created, and it's a compliment.
Well, that's the monomyth. That's what he's talking about. That is the story. I mean,
but it's so unique because no one's ever done it that way.
Exactly.
Like, there's been illusions, there's things that's like it that came before Star Wars, but like Star Wars stands out, the original trilogy and even the prequels as well of a full scope saga that purposely mirrors itself in reverse reflections, if that makes sense. It's like it's just I love Brother Media, and as a prequel fan, I've watched all three of the Plinkett reviews of the prequels, and generally disagree. Clearly, I'm a huge prequel guy, but they referenced some of the study he did making this like the essay of like circles within circles to explain the mimicry that doesn't match like 1 to 4, 5 to 6, or like 1 to 6.
It's all
2 to 5.
circles.
Yeah, it's full of circles. It's like I think it's like the geometric like chakra imagery. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, where it's like it's like they all connect, but then there's other circles that connect different ways.
Yes,
that aren't. Yeah, that is Star Wars. With like scenes and mimicry, and I love it. And then you get this new shit where it's like you don't understand.
They didn't understand what it was about.
dude, just the simple shit like, oh, well, we want to be diverse, so we'll make women and black people and shit in the new empire. And it's like, do you not get, like, you're Disney. You make fucking princess movies where it's very obvious who the bad guy is.
I consider
your
it
symbolism, your color schemes, and you're the, you know, like Mr. Glass and Unbreakable, he talks about there's always a way they draw the villain that's a little strange or different and it aesthetically implies he's the villain in some way, you know. Thanos is like pretty normal, but then he's got like the weird chin, and that's an aesthetic that, you know, you're not going to give the hero generally. Maybe you know, after you make these things get more complex, sure, but yeah, like there's a reason for it. And yeah, it ties in with that whole Hellenism stuff where it's like I've gone forward by reaching back.
The left that you're talking about, the liberal idea that anything can be anything, does not compute, because this is based on things like man and what, like the dual nature of man, the dual nature of reality, like light and dark, good and evil, good and bad, man and woman, life and death. And when you get into things like how is
gender and non-binary,
how is life created? It's like the coming together of yin and yang. But you have to, if you don't understand any of those things, and these are ideas that are still embraced by people in religion today, and they're throughout all of like recorded human history. It's like, no, we're gonna ignore that and just say, if you want to be a girl, you can be a girl, or if you want to be, and it's like, I'm all for everyone should be who they want to be, but at the same time, I think it's far too common that these transgender things are happening. Like, I don't think that's necessarily the answer to a child saying, I want to be a girl. I don't think surgery is, you know, maybe a lot of
what you just
talking,
said there,
but
encapsulates America right now. This is the hubris of our downfall. These implicit ideas we cling to are going to be what kill us as a society. And it's like, well, I don't believe in this. Or it's like, I'm all for you doing whatever you want, but I don't think we should do that. And it's like, well, what we need to define what we should not do for sure, you know. And that's the problem we're at. Is we're trying to, the South Park episode, Rookie, having your cake and eating it too.
Yeah.
The bullshit of America. This is why I'm like kind of completely anti-American in some respect. Like, I love being American, love the opportunity, just for the common citizen.
I love being American. I hate America.
Yeah, like for real, because it's like, well, I was with Hoff. A couple weeks ago in Columbus, and I invited him to have Mexican at a real authentic Mexican restaurant. It's actually a business inside like a store, a Mexican store, like a Mexican Kroger. And it's so Mexican that the waitress had to call someone that spoke any English to take our order. And yeah, it's good shit. But like, you go into a Mexican Kroger and you look at their products, and it's like, these are just like stereotypical kind of memes, you know, of Mexico aesthetics and art and whatever. But it's like, they're overgeneralized memes imply culture, something specific. You go to American Kroger, look at American products, like there's nothing that says America, like, oh, that company is American, it's an IP of America. Oreo, McDonald's, whatever you can think of in the store, besides going into like the Latin and Asian sections, maybe like the German/Jew section, you know, you'll find, oh, that's kind of odd, you know, these things, but they stand out because it's like different, you know. But everything American is just like without identity. Does that make sense? And I think like that implies something. And I don't know how to,
everyone, that's the American dream though, is like, it's the same thing as if everyone's special, no one's special. If everyone's an American, like Stan no one's Lee, America is standardization of everything. And it's like, well, all right, well, this is the way it's going to be. And so you can be American or you can be something else.
You're sounding a little choppy at the last bit. I heard you, but you're coming in choppy.
Check my cables.
Yeah, but this is like something I'm starting to touch on. I don't know how to I don't know where to focus study to like get more. I'm really
Did you hear the book that I was reading to you earlier? Because I feel like that's a really maybe that's just me.
right. No. I'm going to get that book, but like
and that was written
there,
in 1949, by the way.
there is a short I've seen of Ben Shapiro. Think of what you want, if you like him or hate him, for the audience, but it's real hard truth that he points out, and I really take it to heart. And so I want to be more learned than I think someone like Geeks and Gamers, whatever, they're just like hawking, fake, either fake or overblown outrage about generally innocuous things where it's like it's worth talking about, but the way they blow it up is like crying
the way
wolf.
You can even see it in the titles of their YouTube.
Yeah.
It's just like
outrage
as anger at and you can see they like literally just put some in huge bold letters, and I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, like, I mean, like, I know where you got started from, and I do appreciate that and what you did, but what you're doing right now is like, you're as much of a, I mean, you're just power to you to make money off of it. If people are going to watch, let them watch, but it's pandering. It's very clearly become pandering.
But to their credit, even if I don't think they even realize this, because they're just like, "Whoa, money,"
which is the same way I would be. Like, again, like I might be able to see this and criticize it, but if I was in the same position, I can't tell you that I'd be running my business any different. Actually, I can tell you I would never run It's a Vase Productions this way, but it's not called Geeks and Gamers. So,
well, the thing is, I don't think they realize the real value they could have with the audience they've attained, and they've been Pavlov's dogs.
They've been politically hijacked.
They've been conditioned. Not even that, just like the format they're doing is Pavlov's dog. They've been conditioned like, oh well, they got a reward for this and they keep doing it, and they keep getting rewarded for it. It's not like millions of views, but they're getting steady and consistent, and so that's enough to pay out. Like, they're content now, and if it started like cratering, then they would panic and start diversifying their attempts. So that's what's really irritating. But at the same time, I'll give them credit that they don't. I'm very sure they've never actually perceived this, but for all their faults, they are a great gauge, a timeline or whatever, where it's like okay, a barometer. They blew this way out of proportion, whatever X thing is, and they've equated like Little Mermaid controversy with like actual detriment to art, like Last Jedi, and the media coverage of that, and the way they're like protecting. Now Disney kind of sucks, and so now everyone's kind of like, man, Disney products suck. And now articles are saying like, oh man, they're really forcing diversity. Like, they're the media is starting to say it now. Well, we were racist.
Well, the tide's starting to turn on that. Well, and also because how many of these media outlets has Disney owned all along? Because I was doing videos, as everyone was back in the day, but in between like the last two sequel trilogy, there were articles be coming out all the time that are just like, oh no, The Last Jedi does not derail anything for, and I'm sitting there going, no, I can tell you that it did. And even before the movie came out, I remember J.J. Abrams released his biography where he said there was no script, there was no plan. Kathleen Kennedy called him up and said, can you do this movie? And he had to do it from scratch. And if that doesn't tell you right there everything you need to know about the sequel trilogy, like
I give JJ a lot of credit for Rise of Skywalker. I actually, given the circumstance, I think it's a good movie.
But you could never have said this was the plan all along.
No, definitely not.
No, and that's what the media was trying to say. And because there were tons of these articles, and that was the thing that I made the video about, is I was like, if you're looking for current news on Star Wars, don't worry, everything's great unless you're on YouTube and aware of things that, because the big time media was only saying positive things about Star Wars. You were not going to find that unless you were on YouTube. And now they saw what happened. Now the people that were on YouTube have gotten viewers based on that, because people went to where there was actually the truth being told, or at least people aware of this thing, not simply shilling. And so they went there for their news. And now the media is catching on, and they're like, well, people are leaving us and going over there because they're actually telling the truth about what's going on. Maybe we should consider doing that so we can
I wouldn't say
get those views.
I wouldn't say the truth about either side.
No, I wouldn't either.
But
something sensational.
At least when we all started, at least YouTube was like, for Star Wars and entertainment, it was like there's really no money besides just honest viewership, you know, and people see. But now it's gotten to the point where it's like these channels are all compromised. They're never going to actually back off of like woke watchdogging, calling everything woke, or equating highs and lows, because that'll hurt. The successful money making YouTubers in like this sphere, Nerdrotic, all of them, whatever true stuff they're saying or true beliefs, I would say, you have to question everything they say now because of the monetary incentive and associations that they're pie in the sky. They're looking at people above them that's might, a really good rope point. Them in. So like that's why I don't really watch them. Like I watch Nerdrotic video here and there, because even though I'll like disagree about like how heinous the infractions are, if they even are infractions to me, he makes really good art essay videos encapsulating his argument. Yes, and so
I agree with that.
I value that, and I value the long range timeline of topics that you can like. Well, fuck, I'm not gonna pander this low quality commentary every day about X thing because I'm desperate, but they did, and I can go back and just search their time. Like, oh, that thing, and you see, like, you can see a progression. I'm like, oh, here was a big thing that came out, Indiana Jones in 2021, and then 2022, and then like beginning 2023, and then oh look, now it's planning to bomb, and you can see a timeline through their coverage of like, well, this was the downfall. We saw it years in advance. That's the value. I don't think they even realize that.
Yeah.
But I also think this Ben Shapiro comes to mind in this clip, and he was saying something about, I don't know the context how this came out, but he was saying like anyone can read the news, anyone can like read an article. You want to become an expert. He's like, you should, if you want to become an expert, you need to read like, he just throws out numbers like you should read like 10 books about a topic. If you want to be an expert and have like real value in your coverage versus. And so that's why I value Ben Shapiro. Even though, his channel and Day Wire, they've definitely gone awry with this whole like huge bifurcation of what's become pandering instead of like, all right, that's what irritates me with both like the alt political and alt coverage of media and YouTube is that it's become bifurcated by politics and money and pandering, just like the shill media was for the left and for corporations. It's no different now for the people making money off of being anti.
And so that's like, it's to anyone that then breaks into that area. Do you expect them to immediately be, or how long does it take them to be converted until you're one of them? Like if I was to release a video tomorrow that suddenly like skyrocketed me into some sort of crazy popularity, would I still be standing up for the same values that I like professed in this video?
Yeah. Well, no, I've always tried to be honest about my opinions. I have been honest. I don't think I've ever held back on anything I view. I thought it was very strange.
And that's the question. That's the thing, is that like if tomorrow you were skyrocketed into, it's like things change.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get it. It's but that's things, the greed. It's like I try to like keep in mind, like if I get those opportunities to stay nobly greedy, like we were talking about, greed with a purpose. I want to make the money. Like I always said, like, with the example of like these woke corporations pandering to people that ain't buying their shit or stuff that actually hurts their dollar by picking sides
Right.
needlessly. Like so far, we've not seen Clorox say X, Y, or Z politically. They're just a thing that makes bleach because
And
everyone
that's the
uses
thing
bleach.
that advertisements should be at a certain point. Like I've always laughed at certain, thing, but now I actually keep a list of like advertisements I see that just piss me off. It's like, now I'm not gonna buy your product specifically because of this advertisement you put out to try and make me buy it. Like, congratulations, you've definitely and I couldn't care less about dish soap or whatever, but you come out with a video that tells me how to live my life and what dish soap to buy, and that judges me as a person. Like, if you don't buy our dish soap, you must be a racist. And it's like, no, I'm all right. You're done. I don't.
Well,
You're not getting a sale from this person that way.
I was actually going to lean towards the industries in this bit. Is that if I was running Clorox, my best customers might actually be the Ku Klux Klan. Who needs bleach more than the Ku Klux Klan to clean their? And it's like,
but you're not going to advertise the fact.
I'm not going to advertise in favor of them, but I'm definitely not going to advertise against them. You know what I mean?
That's
like I'm very Michael Jordan about this, where it's like Republicans buy shoes, like
yeah,
and
or like NWA when they're like the bus pulls up and they're stomping on all the white people are stomping on all the CDs, and they're like, they paid for them. Like, who gives a shit?
Right. I don't really know a lot about that, but that's a good example, I guess, the context. But no, like my view is like from corporation, it's different being like YouTuber talking about pop culture and world events or whatever. But if I was at corporation, it's like I'm gonna make my money off of everyone I can and not have a side because I don't need to, because I'm a product, not a politician. And then I'll just fund whatever, adventure I want for what I think is, being an investor for society,
right,
a mover behind the scenes.
And that's like
that's what the companies have forgotten to do. It's like, all right, sure, companies donate to Planned Parenthood. I expect that, all you college educated Yankees and whatnot. But as long as you're not telling me directly, yeah, you buy this and it's got this symbol because we're with Planned Parenthood. And it's like, that's where it crosses the lines, Same with the right, like I've never seen Chick-fil-A. People try to like browbeat them and Hobby Lobby for
like, did you know that they're against this? I was like, no, I didn't until you just
like,
told
I don't
me because
care.
Yeah, it's like that was never.
I don't care if I funded trans genocide because I bought a chicken sandwich. If you're so susceptible to dying because I bought chicken, maybe you should die.
Yeah, well, it's like I understand why the suicide rate is higher in men. It's like,
God, it's
no,
so
you
delicious.
don't. It's like, you don't know what it's like to be a man. You're upset because your transgender situation has gone horribly awry. That's not the same as going through the problems that a man goes through. And excuse me for saying that a man is a man and a woman's a woman.
Whoa! Breaking news! Bigot face.
We found out. We did it. We've got him. I'm done.
Oh my God!
That's what's going to
find
shut
that
me
trans
down.
man crying, and then have like rush. We got him.
Oh God! It's like,
right, Rookie. Why are you so fucking quiet today? What's going on with you?
No, there's not much to chime in on, really.
Why are you?
You and I talk about this all the time. So.
Well, okay, I guess that's fair. Yeah, I mean, Rookie have 4 or 5 hour conversations sometimes.
I also read 2 chapters of a book at one point, and I don't know how that went over. So.
Yeah, no,
I remember.
Not 2 chapters.
I'm definitely gonna read that. But no, that whole Ben Shapiro thing really resonates with me, and that's what I was talking about. Like the Geeks and Gamers, like they can read news and mimic more educated people like Ben Shapiro that will kind of say the same commentary, but he has way more depth. Actually, whatever like quick cut he might say, he's got a lot of depth because he's had to study philosophy and law to be where he's at.
Yes, and that's the thing is like if you're so quick, that's what I find hilarious. And when people are like, "You're this or you're that," and it's like, "Wait, I thought you were liberal. How could you possibly listen to Ben Shapiro?" It's like, "Wait, I thought you were Republican. How could you possibly do that?" It's like do
I like
try
Bill Maher,
to
actually.
keep an open mind. Like, you want me to completely shut myself off from anything perceived as the other side? Well, I don't see
Yeah.
sides that way, bro. So
That's
that's the
why
liberal talking.
that's why I'm very like this whole cisgender terminology being I don't know if it's
I
banned
don't understand
or
how, if people don't understand how egotistical it is. Like, do you have any idea how self-centered you must be to expect everyone in society to suddenly start knowing your personal pronouns? Do you understand why we came up with pronouns?
No,
Like,
I agree with that.
the whole
But
thing is ridiculous.
Elon's apparently, I don't know if it means he's banning or if you're going to get like suspended for saying cis as like a slur to people.
Oh, that's so funny. I mean,
it's just
terrible,
weird because
but
like I can look at OnlyFans porn and beheadings and everything else on Twitter. Twitter's really the Wild West. People want to talk about censorship, but Twitter, even with some censorship, is still free range for the most part. And that's great. And I'm just concerned
you
because
can
people are
look
like,
at
"Well, yeah,
beheadings.
he's going to ban the cis slur," and I'm like, I don't want to be petty and tit for tat because those people were the ones in control, suspending people for being COVID hesitant
Who has
or whatever.
tits and who has tats?
Like I don't. I'm just I don't. I think that's a slippery slope to like, hey, now we're in control and we're gonna
Tell me your identifications.
Yeah, I don't. Not in favor of it. It's like if you really want to be a free speech platform as much as possible, then don't target the other side for their wacky. If anything, like individuals have the right to block weirdos, which I do. I preemptively block. Like sometimes I'll say a tweet that the only coverage it gets is like a bunch of leftoids retweeting it and liking the quote the own or whatever, and I'm like, oh, cool, another like, block, because I see their bio. It's like, all right, you already like this tweet that's clearly like slanted anti-me. And so I look at your bio, I'm like, oh, Ukraine flag, BLM, pronouns,
right,
autistic, neurodiverse, whatever fucking wacky shit you put in your bio. It's like, why do I need to know this to interact with you on Twitter?
And you
like,
can still freely have that, even when blocked by Black Angus. Like,
yeah, it's
how
like,
dare you block me? You've infringed on my rights. What, to inflict your mental illness upon me? Like,
yeah, that's the thing. Is like, I'm, say what you want about Israel.
Back in the day,
but preemptive attacks, that is a lesson I've learned from Israel. Is there's an enemy. They're getting ready. You strike first.
Yeah.
Don't let them cross the line. You cross theirs.
And Twitter is, like you said, like a Wild West. And it reminded me of I think it was Doug Stanhope said this. Oh yeah, he was like, he still smokes cigarettes. So he's like, the thing is, if you still smoke cigarettes, that's basically just like a beacon for homeless people, because you have to go outside now. So now the crazies are going to come up and talk to you, like, no matter what. And that cigarette is just like a stopwatch counting down to when you get to go back to a place where, you're not being rambled at by a guy with a beard full of bees.
Do you smoke? Is this why this resonated with you?
I used to.
Okay. Well, no, I smoke.
I've quit twice.
I'm a dipper.
It's difficult.
I grew up with asthma, so I can't really smoke a lot.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think I was in the army, so I don't think it'd really affect me, like put me in an attack or something. But I grew up with that, so I can't indulge chain smoking. So I actually enjoy smoking. Like I'll have a pack. It might last me a week because I'll just get a lot of breaks at work. So I'm like, you know what? I want to puff on a cigarette. Or it might last me like 6 months because I just randomly like, you know what? Okay, I'll have a cigarette today.
And that's good. I support that kind of thing. Like, I support anything in moderation. I mean, it might sound cheap to say, but the people that chain smoke, I'm worried about you. If you have a cigarette like every once in a while, like I have a cigarette every once in a while, but I used to chain smoke, and that is fucked up and bad.
Oh man, okay. Ricky, I got a meme for you, Ricky. While we're talking, this might boost you, might jumpstart you.
It's rough. It's bad for you. At least, or I just heard a thing on the radio that they found a new like genetic there are some people genetically disposed to like not get cancer when they smoke, or like they're less likely to get cancer. They're like, you can smoke and not, have any problems.
What do you think of this, Ricky? It says waking up between 2 and 4 a.m. means a higher power wanted to talk with you, and then the higher power is feed me. Come on, cat guy. Are you there, Rookie? You faggot.
I assume
sometimes that's just a cat. Sometimes it's just a cat just not even wanting food. They're just being a bitch. Just like, wake up. You're not awake. Wake up. I'm awake. You should wake up too.
That's so. Why do people have cats? I don't understand this.
They're cuddly and they're easy maintenance.
If that was in my house, I'd be like, get this thing out of my house. I tell my dog to get this thing out of my house.
It's for lazy people, honestly. That's what cats are for.
It's easy maintenance.
Lazy. Because you don't see people walking their cats. I mean, I know people do walk their cats, but
they're,
as a rule, you don't see people walking their cat. No one goes to a cat park. You know what I mean?
Would you regularly spend, if you weren't related to them, would you spend time with someone that walks their cat?
Yeah. I'd be like, wow, what a forward-thinking cat owner.
Have you? I need to know more. Why have you decided to walk this in? What are you doing? I don't understand cats though, so I don't know if anyone
sending
does.
You various memes I've found, Rookie. Oh fuck, I forgot. Stone Toss did a couple.
KH said goldfish are easy maintenance. I'm with the fish. I like dogs. I like fish. I've never owned a bird. I owned a lizard. Lizards are cool. Their tails come off. They're not supposed to. But, when you're a child,
I'd say, a cattail can come off too, but you're not supposed to really.
Well, I'm telling you, if I grabbed a cat's tail and it did what this lizard's tail did, I would be scarred for life. But
fuck, I forgot. Oh, this is hilarious.
It's a defense mechanism. So I tried to pick up my lizard, and its tail popped off, and then it wiggles around.
You can grab it by the tail.
Well, they don't want to be picked up. They found it. I was a kid. I didn't really understand that me trying to pick it up was to it, like a hawk trying to pick it up. So since I didn't understand that, I went down to pick it up. Its tail popped off, and I thought that was it because that's the defense mechanism that he uses on a hawk. And so then I freaked out and I threw the tail away, and the lizard lived for like a couple more years because he just grew his tail back. Like that's the thing lizards do.
You didn't grow a second lizard from the tail.
No, and I don't think that's how it works. I wish.
That would be cool.
Would be all over that.
That would be cool.
Do you live in the Animorphs house? Like, what's happening with your lizards? Yeah, no, but that actually happened, and that's how I learned that lizards' tails can like pop off and grow back. That's a true,
Yep.
If you haven't seen that on a nature documentary yet, you heard it here, folks.
Oh yeah. Yeah, don't try it on your cat or dog though. I don't think it'll work the same way.
No. No matter how hard you
didn't respond to my text earlier today. What was that about?
Oh, I didn't open your text with the kitty with the fucking Cheeto lips. Cat.
That every time I scroll through my recent album, which is everything I have on my phone, and I just happen to scroll and see, I'm like, the cat. That just makes me happy because there's like a little splotch in my my phone album of all the pictures where it's like that one, and then other stupid faced cats like that aren't even edited. They're just that stupid looking. And it makes me happy.
It's not even a meme. That's just what they look like.
Right. No, there's like those weird cats that got like pug eyes and they're flat faced and their tongue stick out. Stupid. Like,
yeah.
Love it.
I call that the derp face on cats when they have their tongue out a little and it's like, duh. It's the derp face.
So, Vase, have you heard this newest rap sensation going around?
I don't know.
Oh.
Newest rap sensation?
Yeah.
Probably not. No, I'm pretty white when it comes to that.
Hell yeah.
Thing.
It's a new album by Brie Larson.
Oh, that'd be funny as fuck.
That I was like, no, I'm not that white.
You'd listen to it. You'd listen to
I
it.
feel like that would be for women and maybe girls, and that's not for me, and that my opinions don't matter.
But you'd be curious though. You'd be curious. You'd be like, well, what is it? Is she like go, yo, my drugs and weed and smoking in the house? Is he? No, or
I mean, if it turned out to be that way, that would be fascinating. But I feel like I'm getting too old for popular culture, which is the scary thing.
Well, time to feel really old, Chris.
It has to be done. I'm out of town, thugging with my rounds, my coochie pink, my booty hole brown. We're now bodily orifices. Where's the N-words? I'm looking for the hose. Quit playing, N-word. Come suck a bitch toe. Well said.
well said.
Down with my N-word, he took a bitch down. Yeah, that N-word, a bitch down. My favorite part of this is where she actually opens applications for a stepfather for her child. So she's like, I'm out here in Miami looking for the hoochie daddies. Where they at? Where the N-words? Get that ratchet. Where they at? My son need a new pappy. This all seems like an amazing way of capturing an excellent father for your son. You know I'm sexy. I'm the best. I'm the S-word, little bitch. I'm that.
Little bitch.
I like how it's not enough to like apparently not approve of this sort of thing, like, because that's what he's going on about is this is terrible, but he's like, let me read it out for you right now. Let me read every word of this thing that's terrible and that you should never hear. We're gonna. I want him to just. I want him really too bad, but
I want him to read raps of any kind because it'd just be hilarious to
not just the fact that it's like black entertainment, and that you can say this reflects the lack of value for black culture today, which so I feel as a half black guy. I don't indulge in black culture, quote unquote, because it left after 1980, generally speaking. Besides like sports figures, and even that's like I don't watch NBA anymore. It's so trash, and compromise. It's owned by China. It's owned by the corporations. They're literally advertising who owns each player on their jerseys now.
Bill Burr is like, you can't watch this anymore with any legitimacy.
NFL is, I think it's still fine. It's going downhill in certain ways, but it's still like it's such a brutal game that it's like you can't quite fuck it. Yeah. Until you get rid of like actually hitting people, it's still a game worth watching.
And that's why every year they get closer to that South Park episode where it's Sarcastable. Because every year they're like, we got to worry about the health of our players. And I'm like, if they were worried about that, they wouldn't have been playing football.
Well, they all wear bras and play with a balloon.
It's like throwing them into a gladiator arena and then telling them, it's like, all right, now everyone watch your strikes. We don't want anyone to get hurt.
In fact, let's replace the swords with silly string.
Yeah, but that's my point. I think does this reflect black culture today, but I think it reflects general American culture, actually. Like that part we're talking about, like she's opening applications for her stepdads, and it's like, yeah, this reflects the actual reality that is too common now of single motherhood and the attempt at a second chance for a beta male to provide his beta bucks when she had alpha fucks beforehand. It's the never-ending idiocy of women of like, oh well, because they understand the reality of like they've already been balled out and bred, and so they have to fall back on, well, I can't hold out sex for a guy if I'm trying to get wifed up because I already had it,
and I have these kids.
Now I got to put my hole out there. And then, surprise me! Like I've gone through like 10 guys and no marriage, like, and we've, it's that is like the cultural like time capsule. This song is that, but legitimately, even though it's like kind of like awful cadence and whatnot, I kind of actually really just love the song for how blatant it is. It's not even like you listen to like Conway Twitty. Because me and my friend at work are always memeing jokes and rewording them for work-based functions to make the day go by, and it's kind of fun to be creative on the fly. and essentially a guy. This all started because a guy fucking in a hydraulic press. He did something stupid and got killed for it, and so we've kept his legacy, his name going by memeing that memory into songs. Like it's called the press is called a pusher, and so one day I was like, do you know where you are? You in the pusher, baby. You're gonna die. So this is the this is the creativeness that we have fun with at work that just really makes it fun. Otherwise it's very mundane.
Dude, that's great. Makes me wish
it's also for such dark, cruel humor. It's like, what an idiot. It's like, honestly, besides if he had kids, we're probably the only people that keep his name alive anymore. So you're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh man.
I have fun where I can. Or like a lot of times I don't really chat with most people on my line at work. So I in my free time in between production runs, I'll look at Twitter usually, and I'll just have like random, like I'll see a meme is like, and then that's stuck in. So Pound Town is one of these memes. It's just like all day I'll be like, oh, we're going to Pound Town. This job sucks, but it pays the bills, and so you just gotta have
right.
I'm very SpongeBob-y at work. Like
that's fantastic.
Most people are pretty miserable, and it's like, yeah, no one wants to do.
No one wants to be a Squidward,
right?
But it's like, I don't know. I'm just naturally like, well, I'm at work and around people. Maybe there'll be something funny come up or exchange, and I do like the money on my paycheck. So it's just like, why be miserable? I don't need to be. Like, you dictate your attitude. Like other influences. Yes. Can like try to bring you down, but you got to have the positive attitude, and that's how
that's the king. That's the king mentality.
Yeah, literally.
Remember we were talking about the king and the tyrant. That's the king mentality. Your thoughts are like, we're gonna be here and we're doing this anyway. What can I bring that's gonna make this even better for other? You're thinking of other people. That right there is boom, king.
I'm thinking of that guy that died all the time and laughing.
And people get so mad. I've been making memes and like just looking at the reactions that people have to them, and they get so angry. Or like there was one I made about Slave One looking like Jesus Christ on
because he's doing a T-pose.
Yeah, with two guns down by the bottom, and like people are like, you're gonna burn in hell, and I'm just like, the fact that you think God is that petty, or your understanding of what God is that petty?
Yeah, he's probably, if he exists, he's laughing like, dude, that was funny as fuck.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
I've thought about a meme that I just want to like clip from like online Bible. There's like, I don't know what it's probably from a letter of Paul, but he's talking about being like a lukewarm Christian. He's saying like, you're neither hot nor cold, I spit you out. And it's like, I just wanted to like clip him, like, was he talking about semen? Because they'd be like, yeah. I'll just like, I'll tweet that picture, say, is he talking about semen? And then like Pride Month, and see the chaos ensue. This is not a pro sodomy book. See what kind of stern talking to I'll get. It's like, man, you're right. You got, that fucking bitch, Melanie Mack's like, yes, church burned because they showed pride. And it's like, yeah, sure. No, like church is compromised. What, even if this is like a solo church, not like, a regulated organization. Sure. But this is all over the country, and the coincidence that one church got struck by lightning during Pride Month, and they were pro-Pride, and it burns down because God will not be mocked. It's like, I don't know, man. I'm finding lots of pictures of Catholic churches with like the fucking trans triangle asexual flag, lettuce.
Did he strike lightning when
tomato welcome?
Did he strike lightning when kids were being, fiddled with?
Is God striking the hospitals that are performing these chopping block surgeries?
God's not gonna do it.
Exactly.
God is us. We are God.
So like, what do you call it? Like it's a coincidence, but it's like I can't think of the word right now for it. But it's like your blinders are on, like, God did it.
Your ignorance,
at one place,
like right? Ignorance
definitely,
or naivete or something.
No, that's
be naive.
those aren't it. It's like the thing is that not you are being this thing, but it's like oh, this 1 in a million. It's like that the word that would kind of represent that. I can't think of it.
Serendipitous.
I get something that's getting closer, I guess, but. Yeah, like the hubris you think God will not be mocked. He struck down this church.
Oh well, yeah, that's a
And it's like-
reflection of your own beliefs. See, the last
and it's like, I mean, you read the Bible, and it's like, yeah, God probably thinks this about because God fucked his own people multiple times for their
that's that
for
image
their
of God.
right. Wait, that what?
That's that image of God.
Well, no, I mean it's in the Old Testament repeatedly. Like they become secular, they turn away from the order he established through the rabbis and whatnot, and they are repeatedly thrown into slavery, subjugation, and then they turn back to God because life sucks. And like, oh, we're sorry. And so God's like, well, here's a reward. You get Israel back, this little shitty strip of land in the Middle East that's a stomping ground for all these empires. You're welcome. I think it's kind of them rewriting history to suit their own narrative.
Yes,
but
that's called the hero's journey. That's what we all do when we rewrite history. We make ourselves the heroes.
Right. But I think it's very convenient. That's the word. It's convenient.
Well, it's also it's not. Well, go on. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say the example of Millie Mac going like, yes, God struck the church is like, I mean, it's very convenient for you to pick this one thing when there's thousands of churches in America and in Europe and Australia putting up pride displays in some form or fashion. I think the National Church had like a rainbow light pattern up to the ceiling and on the pillars in their church. So this idea of like God is striking churches down for mocking him by being pro lettuce, bacon, guacamole, and
that's
tomato.
ridiculous. Yeah.
No, it's not happening. It's complete coincidence. And it just luckily suits your narrative when there's thousands upon
and
thousands.
That's the same as it
that
was.
Do not suit your narrative
in the
and
Bible.
would validate me saying your God is non-existent because
that's
he's being
the whole
mocked every day
idea.
in his churches.
Is that everyone has their own God, even if you're,
I've thought about that, the multiverse of Jesus. Like literally, like it's funny to say because of Marvel and DC, but like literally,
no, you're on the right track.
The denomination,
the religious cinematic universe.
Well, there's a reason that that's popular culture right now. It's because that's our modern mythology. We're already talking about these types of ideas that these relate into like the theory of relativity and string theory. We're just dumbing them down for mass audiences,
dude. Oh man,
and it goes back into the stuff we've been talking about from the beginning of time. Like when I was
fuck, man, I think it's like episode like 1917. It's from a few months ago, maybe the end of last year. But there's a stream. I need to rewatch it because there's this chunk. I think this guy's doing like AI or something or security of like websites and companies, something that's early 1900s on the number series of Rogan. And he starts talking on this, or he's talking about like AI and stuff. And him and Rogan kind of arguing, questioning each other about like, well, what would how will we know AI crosses this threshold? And he starts talking about these different tests. I think maybe a Turing test is one of them.
Turing test is definitely one, yeah.
Of like, okay, theoretically, if we're right, then like AI would be, beating these certain like ex machina. It's like becoming indistinguishable from a actual human. Even, the responses are so complex that they're indiscernible from a human's responses.
Yep.
And it's talking about stuff like that. And then somebody gets on like religion and culture and how like every phase we're like dumbing down what religions are. We're making new religions, but they're like dumber. And I remember I was in a philosophy class and I was saying like, well, like I feel because I was starting to get into YouTube and stuff, and so it's like I feel like film is a new religion, like that I'm a part of, in some way. Like we
worship at the altar of the screen, of the screen.
For a lot of people are going like, I think a lot of people go to church because they just want to like, all right, I paid my time in every week, I'm going to go to heaven.
And that's part of it. But it's
I think
also
a lot of people go to movies because they want to be sedated for a couple hours with flashes on the screen, and that's all they take from it. Versus me, it's like it's been since 1998 I've been watching Star Wars, and every year I get deeper and deeper in conversations or thoughts, new insights about the world that and the ideas presented by Lucas in
and
his
you could
movies.
do that. You could do that with religion too. But the thing is, people with religion, like if that's your religion, that's what you're basing your entire life upon.
Well,
and they
you
think
should
that you're
be
going to
basing your
heaven.
life on.
Yeah. And meanwhile, the thing you're talking about is actually going and seeing, okay, I saw Star Wars, and that showed me these images and these thoughts and these themes that were underlying themes of this thing. And then you go see other movies and you compare and you contrast them. And that's how you see the underlying themes of like, this is what they were talking about in this movie versus that's what they're talking about in that movie. And they're reflections of reality. It's reflections of life. And so if you want to learn how to live your daily life, well, what did you learn from those movies? Like, don't trust everybody, or like, what, and then you're talking about what are the themes of this film. And so often you'll find those are the same themes of the stories of the different religions. People just refuse to see that they're all really talking about the exact same thing.
Right. Earlier you were saying something about this came in my head. I can't remember exactly what we're saying, but this is a perfect tangent to include it. Oh, it's about work, me and SpongeBob and attitude and the king and tyrant idea circling back. I, as a worker, I think Full Metal Jacket is probably the best way to encapsulate me in a variety of ways.
Mm-hmm.
As far as applying it to life, is the shit sandwich philosophy. There's a duality of I don't even know if Kubrick did Full Metal Jacket. I don't even know if he perceived this in his own movie, but this is something I've taken away from the art is he's like, there's a big shit sandwich out there, we all gotta take a bite, with the sniper. And it's like all hands on deck. It's going to suck for everybody, but it's sucking less for everybody because everybody's sucking, Yep. But if I get a whiff of like, oh, I'm doing all the work, then I am, after that guy gets killed in like the middle of the movie, it's like, better you than me. That's also my philosophy. It's duality. Yeah. It's like I have the selfish side and the selfless side.
You are not yourself. That's the majesty, like that's part of it, is like you yourself are not any of the extremes, but you're measured by the extremes. It's what you do in those extremes that forge who you are as a person.
Oh my god, that's Batman Begins. He's like, it's not who I am, but what I do that defines me.
It's absolutely correct. Well, that's the hero's journey.
That line always resonated. I'm like,
we're talking about
Batman because he said that line. That means a lot.
We're talking about the hero's journey, man. You gotta read Hero with 1,000 Faces.
I'm going to. I don't know if it's that book, but I do have a Joseph Campbell book, or maybe it's
any Joseph Campbell book will be enlightening. But Hero with 1,000 Faces is the one. That's the one that Christopher Vogler ended up writing. It's called The Writer's Journey, but that's where he wrote, essentially he read this book and then he wrote this memo, and he was working on different movies as a script supervisor. He wrote the memo that changed Hollywood. That's what it's called. And now it's a book. It's called The Writer's Journey. And that's in every film school. If you're taking film class, you're going to have to read that for a script at some point. The Writer's Journey, that's based off Joseph Campbell's thing, which is a look at the timeless storytelling themes that make a good movie. And like, that's why it's called the memo that changed Hollywood, is because once he wrote this 7-page memo, which broke down the hero's journey, it got requested at Disney. They're like passing this memo around. Everyone's using it. So it's so prevalent in our modern film, this hero's journey. And once you understand it through modern media, I think you can come to see it everywhere. Like
really quick for anyone watching, you should be able to see it in the description, but Vase, you can sub to him, his links in the chat, in the description. You need to be making more content like this.
It's going to be happening very soon. The reason that I'm focused so much on this is I was working on I'm making videos about the hero's journey. I'm going to be explaining it, giving examples, comparing, contrasting. I'm working on all that. But while I was trying to work on that, I kept getting distracted, pushed off. I ended up making this video that I think is going to be a game changer once I'm able to release it, but I can't even talk about it any more than that right now. So hope for good things on my channel based on this stuff. And then after it's released at some point, we'll have another, podcast, and I'll be on your show, and I'll be like, so how about that shit?
Let me show you some memes I've saved over this week or two.
Sweet. I love memes.
Ricky Critic. Here we go. Let me share this. Present arms. All right, here's one. It's a chat. It's like, I saw you in my dream. Was I getting money? No. Then it wasn't me. It's so good.
I like that.
The Sonic.
The Sonic, yeah, too. That really got. I was like, wait, what is that? Sonic? Nice.
I don't even fucking like Sonic. Never watching it, but like the context of this meme is
right. Yeah.
Here's a good one. Papa John's founder says he's been working to get the N-word out of his vocabulary for the quote last 20 months.
By saying it over and over.
Well, it's just like, I mean, if
It's
you're
expulsion
stopping
therapy.
it, then you just like 20 months of you can't stop saying nigger. Like,
it's been grueling.
I imagine he has like days without saying the N word at 5, and then it goes back to 0 again.
Right.
Nah, dang
He's
it.
in rehab. Oh, I relapsed.
He's got Tourette's, but with the N word.
It's just that word. Oh god, that would be like the worst case of Tourette's ever. Depending on
you're
if
gonna love
you're
this one.
black or white, I guess.
It says, "Gosh, Gary, SpongeBob said you were a bottom feeder, but I never expected this." Meow. Oh, he's just like me.
Slimer.
Here is multiple searches. Rodents love Kia's soy wires. Kia soy-based wiring chewed by rodents. Rodents love Kia's soy wires. And then you see the Wojaks. Ooh, but they're rats. You ever seen the original picture that's based on Vase?
I don't know. Probably not the original. I've definitely seen
it
all
was
the
the
copies.
Beyond Me. Let me send it to myself here and I'll show it. Soy Jacks pointing. Meme.
Yeah, because I've seen that.
I love all the various.
But I don't know the
they've
original
done one where it's Indians pointing to like a colonist ship coming to shore. All right. Come on. Yeah, all right. So I gotta go to Know Your Meme and it'll show the origin. Yeah. Here it is. Save image. All right. Now I'm sending it to the Rookie the Critic. Boom. All right. Oh, come on. There we go. Right here.
Oh, that's like the picture it's based off. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, I had no idea there was two real
Occupy
people.
Democrats logic, and they say the West has empirically been
God.
hemorrhaging testosterone over the last several decades. This is legitimately a problem, and the physical manifestations of the epidemic have faces. When you see people like this, remember our grandfathers stormed Normandy when they were teenagers. How far we've fallen, and it's like it's such a like catastrophizing little like quote this guy's saying, but at the same time it's like actually yeah, it really does surmise like these simple aesthetics, you can through our memes, but a meme of World War II is Iwo Jima lifting the flag over the vanquished Japanese.
Oh yeah,
in the bloody holdout of Iwo Jima as like the pretty much the last stand of the Japs before we bombed the fuck out of them with 2 A bombs.
Yep.
And now this is like a meme that's permeated culture, and it's
a fascinating study, like meme culture.
Here's one
because I've seen.
They say
seen.
They say, who do you think gives the best head? These girl versions of SpongeBob characters.
Wow.
Like, if Vase wants to talk about philosophy, you got a fucking SpongeBob who gives the best head meme.
Honestly, I'm gonna go SpongeBob. They look really enthusiastic.
I always heard fat chicks give the best head because they're always hungry.
Huh. I mean, aesthetically though, I might go with female Plankton because she's so like whatever.
Well, no, that's
it's
my
like,
type right there. Yeah,
yeah,
Ignore
because
me,
it's
baby.
like
Ignore me. Oh,
yeah. It's like it's kind of
look
a
at
challenge.
these other two; they're desperate.
Yeah, it's like
She's a hunt.
Right. Yeah, it's like, it's gonna be hard. She's like a fucking Wednesday. I guess that's the appeal of Wednesday sexually for people, is that kind of like bitch mode 24/7.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know. I really fucking did. Like, I've watched probably half of the Wednesday show because I'm like, oh, it's just the talk of the town. I'm like, this is fucking awful.
Is
Like,
it terrible? I haven't watched any of
I
them.
don't remember I never watched the movies, but I
stopped watching.
They don't really show Wednesday a lot in the show. It's usually Morticia and fucking the father, the horny dad.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's always fucking smooching on Morticia. And which is looking back at history, that's what I was saying about music earlier when I brought up the dead guy songs we make up. Conway Twitty. But little funny thing there.
Oh yeah.
Is like Love to Lay You Down. And one of the lines we've retold and say like whisper sweet words your sister loves to hear.
Oh man.
Stupid shit like that. Just it's fun to recontextualize a song, and then that makes it kind of fun to listen to the original because you think like, but it's funny because you listen to that song and it's like, oh, Conway, it's a love song. And you listen to it like, oh yeah, this is a love song. He wants to fuck. That's what this song is. But it's from a time where you had to be prudent in how you said you're down to fuck. And then you hear 50 years later, Pound Town, my coochie pink, my booty hole brown. And it's like, huh.
Oh, it's evolving. That's right.
Well,
it's
the thing about evolution is
it's a continuous circle.
It doesn't facilitate intelligence necessarily.
Idiocracy.
So yeah, you're right. Exactly. And it's like the retard had all the kids, and it's like,
if we make society good enough that anyone
I was talking about this. It's like, maybe people should be committing more suicide. Why?
Yeah, that's why George Carlin was always talking about like putting people into camps and like just having them. All the rapists could go into this, thing, and all the child abusers we could throw into this camp, and all the pedophiles we throw into that, and then we just let them all kill each other, and we put that on primetime TV. I guarantee you that makes you enough money to feed some of those homeless people.
It's a perfect plan.
Here's one. Man sues McDonald's for still being depressed after eating Happy Meal. It's just, I assume this is a fake article, but it's like
the coffee.
I can imagine a real person doing that though. Like,
well, yeah, they got sued for coffee because it didn't say hot on the cup.
This is false advertising. It says Happy Meal. I'm not happy.
And that's why on all products now it literally has directions of like what not to do. Don't eat this.
Don't insert package in your anus.
Don't put it in your butt. I know you want to, but
that's specific packaging you have to order separately.
That's not how you use a Happy Meal, sir.
Of McDonald's, apparently it was Grimace's 50th birthday, and some artist I follow made this. Says Grimace is going to give you some extra tangy sauce.
I got a better one than that for you.
I love it. And here's one. I don't know if this is true, but it says this family encased their deceased grandmother in resin and used her as a coffee table.
I thought it was that an old couple had sex or something, and that's a different one.
But just like if this is real, it's like, wow. And also, is she like glazing a cake or like what fucking pose?
I don't know if this was the original one or if this, because there was like one where it was like their dog. It's like, I don't know if this
people taxidermy their dogs.
Well, no, but it was this exact image, but with a dog.
Right. So here's one.
So I don't know which one was real or not.
So do you know how much air normally goes in like a car tire, Rookie?
No idea.
You've never had to fill up the air for your mom?
No.
Oh my god. Well, it's usually between like 25 to 40 pounds, depending on your car, is how much tire your pressure should be. And generally, your shit's going to be lower when you go pump it up. So, context, all right? No matter how much air I put in, it won't go to 100. And then Greg says, you may have to top it off by mouth. And then someone replies, your girl taught me off by mouth.
Okay, I'm back. I was looking up this thing I had to send you. So it's on. I sent it to your Twitter.
Okay.
You mentioned Grimace, and
oh god,
it's that bottom one.
All right,
there you go. Oh, I think it stopped.
No doubt about it. We McFucked the bed. We think he's technically classified as livestock.
furry purple patty.
Pretty patties.
Oh my god. McDonald's. That is amazing.
You said Grimace, and I was like, wait a minute.
Let me go back to. I know I shared a couple more. Okay, so this is the duel of the fats art I'm going to put on Teespring. Me versus Rookie.
Woo!
I think I'm winning
that.
already. I think I'm winning already.
Who did the artwork?
Oh, I'll share it to you. Well, I'll show it, then I'll share it as well. Affordable. This piece was $130.
Nice.
Generally, like a comic art. This is like worthy of like the art style could be a cover, you know.
No, yeah, I was
comic. And
admiring.
So, I would say generally something that's good, you're gonna pay $250, $300 at least. I think they're Russian or Russia Air because the email I got back from them, I found them on Twitter, but the email I got back was like, it looked like Russian characters. So,
okay.
And I asked them like, "Oh, are you from Russia?" And they just went silent on me. So I don't know if they were like, "Oh fuck, like he's gonna renege or something." It's like, no, I was gonna be like, "Yeah, kill the Ukrainians, like win the war, Viva la Russia," you know, like. But he never responds, so I can never like have that compatriotism with them. Like, yeah, kick their ass. I kind of want to learn Russian. I'm losing weight. I kind of want to learn Russian and get fit again and go help them win. Here's an interesting one. Elizabeth Hurley stars a new erotic thriller that was directed by her 21-year-old son.
Oh, that's.
I found this originally from. I follow this one guy that's always sharing pogs and making kind of funny innuendos about the pictures of these like big titty, big ass pogs. And he shared this. He's just like me. Because he always alludes to like a mommy fetish in his stuff. So it's like, and so I saw it on the Pog poster before I saw like the actual like any legitimate article, Twitter handles. So nice. I mean, also, God, look how well she's aged. Like, can you blame the kid? It reminds me, did you ever see that story of this teen convinced his mom to make an OnlyFans so she could have more money for him?
Whoa.
True story.
Yeah, there's bound to be shit like that happening, I guess.
It's like
in this new, yeah.
You watch the family business to do well,
Have we no values?
I knew I had to share this with you because of Star Wars, and it's like this is so amazing. It's
a
like
great
almost
mashup.
perfectly angled too. I'm kind of in shock at how like fucking perfect it is.
Oh my goodness.
And also it's like the same context of like dismay at a revelation in the plot, you know. It's like Padme dies, and in the office Toby's back.
It's like the worst thing that could have happened.
Like the context is not even changed for this meme with the Michael in it. It's like,
and see that right there, what you're talking about, that's the type of things we studied in like that semiotics class. So you could make a project out of something like this, and just what you would do is add what they would both be looking at and be like, look at how exactly these two, you know, that's comparing and contrasting like two different images. Like you just did it.
Yeah.
Or like this does it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that's how you do it. Like once you can start to recognize those things and you clearly have a good eye for that type of thing.
Oh, I didn't make this, but I saw it and I'm like, perfect. And yeah, like just actually breaking it down, it's like this is ingenious because of like the plight of both characters.
Dude, that's why so many people like that She-Hulk meme that I did. Because like I did some of the voiceovers myself, and everyone was like, "Oh, this was really well dubbed," and then it already fit into the context of like what was happening in the show, like because it's Family Guy, and it's just I take a situation that they had in there, you add like the thing to it, and it's like, okay, look, they're talking about the exact same type of thing, and that's basically that's part of what a meme is. Like that's why we understand it, like intrinsically. That's why when you see this image, your brain knows what to think without me having to like actually you know what I mean? Like that's
oh man, hold on. Go on, but
I was just gonna say that instantaneous processing, like that's what our brains do naturally. Breaking it down and understanding how that's done is another thing entirely. But
oh my god, this guy does not stop, and I love it. Oh my god. Oh man, I guess I got like 3 things to show you from this guy. Oh man, do you know Stone Toss Comics? I'm sure you've probably seen them on.
Yeah, I've seen a couple.
Okay,
I'm aware of them.
Right. All right. So I am sharing a couple. About to display them here. Okay, so this is the first official cover for Meth Gator. I got art that's been posters, but this is the first cover that I'm going with. I might actually do that Swamp piece as a cover, but this was purposely commissioned for a cover. This is an loose homage to an Ed Bennis piece. I just need to get it colored now, but there's Shelby Cooper, the hooker, with Meth Gator on a 69 Charger, like the Duke boys, and she's dressed in Daisy Dukes, just like Daisy Duke herself.
You know?
Wait, what? Oh, you've been muted. You're muting yourself or something, Vase.
Oh, I was saying I think those are good references.
Yeah. No, yeah, because Meth Gator is from Georgia. Hey, Kara Fro. Sorry, I don't know how long you've been listening in or saying whatever. It's good for kids only. Damn it, I wish I would have noticed the chat when you said that. So I knew exactly what you were addressing. Sorry, I'm looking on my Twitter while I'm sharing this. Ancient One says, and yes, Dorky Critic, once the day comes and I have loads of money, I make sure the idea to invite a bunch of people to stop by at the very Subway you work at so they will buy cookies from you. Next thing you know, we'll find out Darth Vader learns necromantic force powers. He brings his wife back and succeeds in getting her to join the dark side. No, wait a minute, that can't be right. That actually would have been a cool twist. It's like, oh, I'm sorry to inform you, you killed your wife in your mental state. He's like, wait. What about that whole life power thing? It's like, never mind.
No,
Gotcha.
that was a Disney cop out. No,
actually, that wasn't a problem at all. We got the necromantic powers. But no, Kara Fro's a new, I guess, sub. She's a mod on one of Vito's channels. So appreciate her saying hi, giving me some time. Thanks if you're still here or not, or if you pop back in. But hey, thank you for popping in and saying hello. She's a Vitophile. I need to get on Patreon and sub to the Patreon for being a Vitophile. I'm so invested. So, but yeah, so cover art. So I've put about $200 in this total, but initially for the sketch work, like the penciling and shipment from Brazil was $130. So just give you a perspective, like if you ever have art projects, you should look to Philippines or Brazil if you want good quality but cheap labor.
And so I'm consider me like, as much as I talk about the study of signs and symbols and like comics and stuff, I'm kind of a total noob when it comes to actual how comics are made and how like. So you're paying for this artwork. Is that like
I paid
investment in like the future? Like, can you get this done easily? Like, what's the rest of this looking like for you? Like, what's the
making a comic? Yeah, it's still a ways down the road. I'll probably need to hire someone to help me do like a script layout for panels because I'm not a comic guy. I got into comic because of ComicsGate, because of EVS from the Star Wars stock and stuff. So that's how I got in this, and I do like comics. But I'm not writing it as a comic writer. I'm writing it like movie critic, plot holes. So I think it's probably better story. I'm focused on the story.
Sure. Well, that's good. That's good. That's one of the things that I like in the difference. Like if we're talking about comparative media, the difference between what is a book, what is a comic book, what is a movie, and what do these different media, like, how do they thrive? And no matter what, the core, I think, is the good story. So as long as you have that.
Yeah. So I am very focused on hammering out a really well-crafted story. Whether it resonates or not, that's subjective to the audience. But objectively, picking it apart, like I'm very, as someone that loves movie criticism and I watch new movies, sometimes it's hard for me to actually be a critic when I take in a movie the first time.
Sure.
But it's like 50-50 for me right now. I want to get better and just like instantly like, bam, that's good, that's bad. This is misdirect, whatever, but like it's there sometimes, somewhat, if I'm seeing Star Wars, my criticism is more of like lore of the films, not like execution necessarily. That's like after the fact rewatching. But yeah, because of my YouTube history and stuff, my interests, and lack of comic knowledge, I'm always going about my comic knowledge as like being a novice, and I don't want to. I think it kind of helps me maybe to not write this like with like, oh yeah, we got to do this page with this pose and like whatever. I'm gonna largely leave that up to the artist, where it's like, here's a story. Here's a progression, but like help me convey it artistically in this medium. So I'm gonna be doing it the Marvel way. That's cool. Like, I'm a writer, you're the artist. I'm just gonna give you notes of like, no, he doesn't look like that, or why is it like this, or you turn the camera angle picture wise. I'm more of a producer in that way. Like Rookie, like I was telling you, and like with Rookie, there's been things where I'm like, not my idea, but like, oh, this is my reaction. This is like, this would fine tune it in some way, or just maybe writing. Because I was in this writing class. It was like a psych/writing class, and one of the most impactful classes, because most classes like, hey, you got to write so many words or so many pages, and it's like it's arbitrary, and you're seeing the problem in media, not just in films, but like just journalism.
Yeah, no, it's like busy work,
word count versus quality, and it's like, well, I'm like halfway through like essentially a 10-page essay that could have been 3 pages and got the same boom, and because of that limitation, which is really hard to do, because you also had to like cite shit properly in the prose and your source page. So it's very challenging to like truncate your shit and simplify everything. But that's like when I was doing essay videos, that was how I was writing stuff. So I do like my quick draft, and then I'd go back and reread it, and I'd figure out ways to shorten it to make the sentence simpler, to limit my word count. So it's like, I'm hopefully, if you're here for the context I'm giving you, I'm not bombarding you, because like, even if you're interested, like sometimes you gotta chunk long form essays, because all right, I watched that part and I gotta check it out right now. And so that's how that's why I kind of deem myself like, I'm like a producer mainly. I'm a tweaker,
Sure. And not everyone can do everything. Not anyone can do it. That's why movies and like these things are collaborations, and that's why like people value a piece of art so much, is because like one person just did that, or a sculpt. But like a movie is like
thousands of people, possibly.
Tons. It's an industry. It's a full-on industry, and there are artists and there's people trying to live day to day, all doing and working towards similar things, maybe from different, people want to tell stories.
Right. With your inquiry specifically about like producing comics, so generally from my understanding, not being an artist, so everyone has to like, for the book, has to like be doing shit for me that I'm paying for. So at minimum, probably gonna have to spend like 10 grand, give or take, to make a comic. Probably more, especially with the Biden inflation. But 10, 15 grand should be able to get you a worthwhile comic with like between 20 to 40 pages, give or take, depending on like what deal you get with your artists and how much an individual artist can do. So like this one is like, I paid for a guy that like drew something, but then I had to pay someone else to actually ink it for all the black. Because that's its own skill to ink a comic properly. So that now I need to get a colorist, and then it'll be done. So that'd probably be at least another $100+ So overall, I'll probably put $350 into this cover, which isn't bad overall if it like, sells enough once I get it all made. But I'm not doing a campaign till I actually have like some page art to go with it. So then it's like, all right, I legitimately have a book. I just need you to help me finish and produce it with your money. So yeah. I tried the posters because it was like, at the time, there's a lot of problems with people fulfilling or even completing their books or having a good progression of, I'm working on it with the team I've assembled. And so the posters was like, well, I don't have money to make comic pages right now, but I can get like essentially a meme of the story or an image that will impress you of like, this is like an idea of Meth Gator. So that's why the poster campaign was a thing, because I was trying to like, instead of a GoFundMe, I was trying to like, hey, buy this, I'll fulfill the
like
posters.
the elevator.
You'll get confidence in me, and then you'll be like more willing to give me more cash for a bigger, costlier product, because I've already fulfilled posters, which I did fulfill. So I mean, if you can run an eBay store at all, however, like if you've sent a package, you should be able to fulfill a fucking comic book. Actually making it, that's the other thing. Like I haven't completed yet, but in the works. It's just the money thing is why it's taken me forever to actually make this. But I've commissioned art to like, I've put money into this to actually make it. So it's a little frustrating. It was an attempt. If I was a bigger comic YouTuber or a bigger name in like comics, then I think the poster kind of cart before the horse thing could have worked. But I'm nobody. I've been in CG, been talking to CG people since it started, but I've just never crossed the like, hey, that's a name in CG. Yeah, go talk to that guy. Have a stream with him for your book. But I'm doing the work, trying to reach out to people, find them. So
right on.
But yeah, so got a couple more memes, and we'll go to, I think you were going to show something, or Ricky was.
304.8.
304.8. What are you talking about? Oh, your weight.
Yeah.
So you're down like 3.5 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm down 5, so suck it, loser.
Well, you had to work the last 2 days. I didn't, so fuck you.
Well, it's funny because I'm losing weight just because I work and it's hot and I wear a hoodie when I work. And so I sweat more, so I'm drinking more water. So then my body's burning a little more calories because I'm having to drink more cold water, which then, yeah. So there's a cycle of just the work that is a workout, all because it's 12-hour shifts. And,
so that means if you lose, it's an even bigger loss than it would have been.
Yeah, and also I don't eat a lot of carbs. So I was like, Ricky be like, well, you had Taco Bell twice today for breakfast and dinner. It's like, yeah, but it's like meat and cheese. And it's like practically no carbs.
No, my thing was more you had it twice in the same day.
Well, breakfast is different than dinner tacos. Like I got an egg crunch wrap. They don't have eggs in the afternoon. Which I wish they did. I wish they had 24/7 breakfast Taco Bell because fuck, I love arguably I love the breakfast Taco Bell better. But yeah, Stone Toss says, given the authenticity of the experience, $250,000 for a ticket was actually a fantastic deal. Talking about OceanGate. And
oh my god! Oh, sorry.
He made this meme. This is what got me even looking into OceanGate.
Yeah, this was the first one I saw. It's like it's a funny
like Titanic,
meme.
And it's like, just imagine what it must have been like. And it's like, and I'm like, what the fuck is this about? And so then I'm like, yeah, Fred Skyfall. He's like, damn, you do work fast. And then I seen this. I'm like, control. I'm like, what is going? What is this about? Yeah. And so then I start deep diving about OceanGate. Where am I? Rookie critic. There was another one that's hilarious that is like multifaceted meme. And so he's like, see, I told you diversity is great. And then he's like, do you know anything about submarine engineering? Oh, he did the Black Little Mermaid and OceanGate in one. What a genius. I hate this guy for how fucking smart and brilliant this guy is with simple fucking memes. He'll do 1 to 4 images.
Yeah. And
like you could write theses about the shit he's making with political commentary.
Yeah, because he does it. Yeah, like that's 2 frames. That's and he
like,
captures.
You get it because she's a diversity hire.
It's like
so she clearly couldn't know anything because they just plug her in because of race, and that's why the ship's sinking because he wouldn't hire 50-year-old white guys.
He's fingering the pulse.
I love the contrast too, because it's like he's like so happy right here. He's like, oh my god,
no, we did it,
and he's like, please help. I love the I think it's the Streisand effect that people have done with Stone Toss, where it's like they've devoted there's communities like Stone Toss is a Nazi, and then people like they'll see it in some way, people saying this and like, wait, who's Stone Toss? And so then they have to look up.
That's how I found you. Yeah, that's how I found, that's like how you find some things. It's like these people are being so ridiculously opposed to something, it must have some sort of truth to it, because
I think Elon Musk shared this.
Now that's an interesting interesting, yeah, because he's revolted. He's like, is the bottom picture the modern world, or is that us revolting against the modern world? How do I revolt against the modern
world? If I'm revolting,
how do I do it?
Why would I fuck it? And it's like, there's a lot to unpack here if it's getting it wrong or not, but also it's like, well, if we're the dog, sex bots are becoming more and more of a reality. Like we already have sex dolls, and now they're doing AI that's becoming very believable. And if you apply that to a sex bot, that's the thing. It's the industry, the leaders of industry for thousands of years have either been war or sex. That's usually why these technologies advance.
Or war and sex.
Well,
AI, like the first thing we started doing with AI art, making big titty waifus. And I think there's something there, something intrinsic about that. And it's men and women that are prone to make it's binary, the being prone to making beautiful, like there's something there. I was telling Ricky about like beautiful women are like the most beautiful thing. And it's like, it's very interesting, like why that is aesthetically. And like, it seems to be a truth in humanity because you look at the art.
That's
because it's so fleeting, and it's easy to be beautiful for a moment, but to maintain beauty as a woman because of all the hurdles of just being a woman with hormones, and then also pregnancy, and it's easy to get lazy and lose, take days off instead of upkeep, and I think it's interesting that both sexes do this, because there's like you'll find like, oh my god, this is so male gaze art, like in comics, and then you find out, oh my god, a woman drew this. Is she a lesbian? It's like maybe she's bi, but she's definitely not gay. And it's like it's something profound about that, And that's why I mentioned that Ben Shapiro thing. It's just like I'm trying to focus, like, where do I study these deeper thoughts? Because I don't know the names of like what these thoughts are exactly, what slot they fit in, even to start researching. But I'm trying to find it because I don't want to be. Yeah, you can disagree with me, but it's like I want to be.
I've been agreeing with you the entire time.
I want to be the expert, like Ben Shapiro's talking about. I don't want to be the fucking talking head anchor that reads article. That's really why I disdain Geeks and Gamers so much, because they have so much potential and they squander it for quick bucks. They're McDonald's, and it's like McDonald's has its purpose. It's convenient, it's quick, but it's like it's not
all right
valuable. You know what I mean? Like,
yes. And I actually have to leave now.
No, you don't.
I do.
Fake news.
Real news. I gotta go.
No, it's been great. I didn't know how long we'd have you, and we got 3 hours out of you.
And I wanted you to know that you've been talking. Well, we've been. I keep bringing it up, but you're talking about like the stuff that Joseph Campbell talks.
No. I'm going to let me type it in on Google so I don't forget. But yeah, I'm going to.
And it's available in an ebook. I've got it on my phone, and I look it up and I rewatch it. And I actually made a video. One of my recent videos is like the end of The Lion King, with just part of me reading part of his book. And when you're talking about things matching up, like how they match up, even with just that picture from The Office and Star Wars, when you're talking about that kind of connection, like that type of connection, the thing that is the center of it is the hero's journey and the hero with 1,000 faces. And that's a hill I'm willing to die on at this point. So
I love it. Like it's sounding like your Bible, which is like what I'm looking for,
And I never expected, but then once you read it and once you look more into it, because just the book by itself isn't enough. But once you see it, then everywhere, and it's like, oh, that's what I was seeing all along. Like that's what this feeling was. That's what this, and you see it in everything. It's like, oh, and now I get it.
Holy fuck, it's 500 pages. Fuck you, Vase.
Dude, it's not bad. No, because
no. I'm just like, it's going to take forever.
A lot of it,
reader.
A lot of it is references because it has the direct. It's a textbook really. So it has like annotations. So it'll be like
okay.
And so it'll directly tell you, because it's referencing so many different things. It wants you to have at least a clue of what it's talking about. So if you don't immediately get something, you can use the reference. But that's why I like having it on my phone, is that I can just look it up straight to the internet, because there are some things there that it was written in 1948 and it's not, it's a textbook. It's a scholarly work. So it's not, it's not freaking Lord of the Rings. Okay. But it's about everything like that. So reading it gives you an insight into every story ever.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I found a free PDF of it, so
go for that.
I'm going to send it to the old the rookie, the critic. But no, thank you for coming by, hanging out with us. I want to do more. I thought about surprise guesting Hoff for a little reunion.
That would be fun.
We'll have to do that next time. We'll have to surprise them or surprise you, either way, whichever way it goes. But yeah, keep in touch and stay more active.
It'll be a real
Twitter.
surprise at this point. But yeah, I'll try.
Stay more active on Twitter. Yeah. I would love to hear you on a podcast.
I cocooned for a while, so I'm emerging from the cocoon.
Yeah, you're like Cyberfrog. Now you're
back. Blossoming.
Yeah, exactly.
But, I'm gonna kick you out so you actually get to your task or sleep.
Thank
or whatever,
you. I gotta take these dogs outside.
You're not walking your cats outside? What the hell's wrong with you?
The cats. That's the whole conversation. All right.
Well, see you later.
Adios.
Boom. Kicked his ass out. Oh, his hippy dippy Joseph Campbell. No, I am excited to read this. Let me copy the link and send it to the rookie, the critic. That was fun, man. Anything else you want to chat? Ricky, or even just so quiet? So
We watched the Secret Wars and it was retarded.
Secret Invasion. Secret Wars is later.
He fell asleep.
Well, to be fair to Secret Invasion, the last 2 or 3 days have only been getting like 3 hours of sleep just because I stay up too late. So,
But
My
you literally
body
didn't
just-
miss much. So, you know.
yeah, no, it's not something I'm like, oh, I mean, I'm gonna have to, if I keep up with this, I'm gonna have to like go back and, well, what was going on with that, you know? But yeah, it's whatever so far. I mean, I'm sad because like Amelia Clark, I want her to do good, but it's like she's hitched her wagon to a fucking dead horse called Marvel.
Yes.
But
Right.
yeah, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate everybody. Karen, Keely Chow, Papa Cotton, Curtis YZ. Go, so if you haven't, to It's Vase Productions, link in the description. Give them love. And we didn't really talk about Bud Light, but we kind of talked around it with the whole product stuff. So I feel like, yeah, we kind of got the point with it, but not
It's
specifically.
implied.
Implied, yeah, it's related to the overarching conversation. But yeah, I love talking to someone like Vase. He really seeks value in stuff, not just sensationalism. We need more of that. So go support him, and talk to y'all possibly Tuesday if I find someone. I don't know, busy, but definitely Thursday again with the Rookie, the Critic.
Okie the dokie.